Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the NUEL CSGO University Championship Winter Finals, brought to you by the Republic of Gamers, Intel, and of course, Twitch student. I am Wolfie6678, and joining me for this one is going to be Pratalis. How are you doing, my man? Excited for this?
Yeah, I am excited. My university, obviously one of the few that actually runs esports courses as an option, and we've actually made it to the grand finals of a tournament, which is obviously exciting to see, and it's Counter-Strike of all things, which is my favourite esports. So all in all, pretty thrilled for the matchup that's about to go forward.
It looks like an intriguing one as well. It's two teams who've had a lot of success. We've seen the occasional Vertigo pick coming in as well, just to really mix things up. And I've heard you've got some insider information relating to Vertigo.
Yeah, I do actually as well. So I did have the opportunity to speak briefly to Relic from Staffs before this started. And let's just say that Vertigo's on the cards, ladies and gentlemen. It's very possible that it will actually end up there, or at least in one of these maps. Now, obviously, from what we've seen of Quiff Peak before, very puggy team. They like that traditional puggy style. Go for your default execute, standard smokes down, walk in, frag people's heads off. That's the strategy they want to go with. So, sort of expecting their picks to lean around maps that favor that kind of style. I know that they're keen to take us to Vertigo, at least in one instance. Now, whether or not that does get permabanned out by their opponents or not, because obviously we do see Train as pretty much every team's de facto permaban, at least in the NUEL, and obviously we see teams like to avoid it. Staffs haven't got the best record. I think they just got hammered on it last weekend, 16-3. So they'll definitely not want to go to Train. But, maybe if a low IQ player takes Train out, we're virtually guaranteed Vertigo in this series.
Yeah, I mean, for low IQ, I think that's a really interesting one because they've got 2-0 on Train, right? They've won it twice, they've performed on it before, and they're one of the few teams who've really been willing to go to Train as a consistent pick. Obviously, Nuke has been the almost polar opposite, which is a little bit unusual. Normally, you'll see teams, they like Train, they like Nuke, but they're 0-2 on Nuke, so I think this ban could go honestly anywhere, and that really does lend itself to the insanity that would be a Vertigo pick.
Well, yeah, I mean, if low IQ are doing really well on the Train, as you were saying, then they're obviously probably not going to permaban that out in the first instance, which means Staffs are going to. They'll take that straight out of there, and then it's really up to low IQ on what they hate more. Do they hate Vertigo more, or do they hate Nuke? Because one of those two maps is probably going to be floated if you don't take them out. And I think that if they take out the Vertigo from the equation, we're much less likely to see Nuke than we are if they take Nuke out of the situation and leave Vertigo in. So as a result, it's really going to come down to what low IQ do decide to ban out in that first phase. Otherwise, though, outside of that, expecting potentially Overpass to make an appearance. Traditionally thinking of that to be in the form of low IQ's pick. And then in terms of a decider, it really does depend on whether Nuke gets banned out or not. Because if it doesn't, then we could be looking at something like a Dust 2 or a Nuke decider. But a Mirage could also be floated in there as well if it's not perma-banned out. Again, think about all those puggy maps that you like, not necessarily that you like, that you see when you're queuing in things like Face It, and expect that to be what the low IQ guys are going to be going, not the low IQ guys, the Quiff Peak guys are going to be going for in the veto.
Absolutely. It is those maps that show up more often than not, and it's the maps that you get when a player and a team don't have that much experience together. They don't really have the talent, a growth almost as a unit. They've got that individual talent. They just haven't quite got the cohesion and the team play to take your nukes, to take your trains. So they fall back onto the medium maps. Overpass is an interesting one, and I find myself talking about it a lot because a lot of teams are finding success on it as a sort of middle ground map because it gives your utility players and your players who set up your executes an advantage to really shine. But at the same time, you've got those aim fraggers. So odds on an Overpass pick?
It could definitely be floated. In terms of, as you were saying, as like a middle ground pick, is certainly an option for us to end up on. It's a map where AWPing is just so hugely important, and we saw that monstrous performance from Johnny Valele on his CT side. But it's also a map where it's very heavily CT sided. We saw them Quiff Peak in that map get dominated in the first half completely. Their T side borderline atrocious, to be honest. But then somehow they came back and won it out 16-14 in regulation time. So if it is a map that does end up getting floated in the series, it's one that could potentially be ended up on as a decider. It's something that I think low IQ are more comfortable to bring into things early than Staffs are. But it comes down to really how puggy low IQ want to make this series. Staffs want to make it as puggy as possible, so it's up to them to if they want this to be slightly more tactical, they've got to bring those maps forward.
The words every commentator hates. They want to make it as puggy as possible, but that's what we have. And of course, when you're looking at pugs, you're looking at your star players. We've spoken about Johnny Valele, but looking specifically at the low IQ and the staffs boys, who are we thinking is going to stand up? Who's going to put their flag down in the finals of NUEL?
Wow. So in terms of the staff guys, it's got to be Ewan for me that we got to be looking out for. This is again a little bit of insider information from one of the IGLs and the staff team himself. Apparently, he's doing absolutely amazing right now. He's the star player, but he can pick up the calling at times. So if we're seeing his fragging drop off, that could be because he's taking over some of the tactical esports element of that, and then looking forward to other players to really try and shine on the staff side. Apparently, Hasnoodle's also in great form, and he rarely takes over that tactical mindset. So if we're looking for someone to be consistently great across the game, it's got to be Hasnoodle if he can turn up in the form that is being suggested to me.
Okay, so there's a good amount of talent backing up that roster, and it was interesting you talking about how Ewan sometimes picks up the calling and how that can just be detrimental to his play. It's something we see a lot throughout CS. These players who pick up IGL roles and then their fragging just drops off completely, but it hasn't been something that's affected university esports as a whole. I'm going to say players still tend to pop off, and do you think that's to do with the sort of informal style of play that we get and the pug maps that we get, or is it that we simply have incredible talent?
I think.
Sorry,
You
I
set me
touched
up with a very difficult way to answer that question politely. But I do think that the first case might be slightly more accurate in this instance, right?
Yeah.
If you are ended up on these more puggy maps all the time, like Inferno, Mirage, even Vertigo, all things like this, it's just a map where the individual players are going to shine. And as well, if it's your first year at university, it's your first splits competing, you don't have that much time to build cohesion properly as a team, right? There's not enough time to source that in-game leader, to drill strats traditionally in the servers that you see at the top level of play and things like that. And it's very much just a case of, let's just find the best players in my university and then try and compete on that complete level. And we are hopefully getting some veto information coming through then, and we should be able to get some confirmation as to what maps that we will end up on. Personally, if low IQ are taking it to a very puggy level, I'm expecting Vertigo Mirage Dust 2, but Mirage is taken out of things straight away. So that's some puggy style remove. I'm expecting the train band to come out from staffs, and then that should guarantee us a Vertigo pick here then. Inferno being picked out in the first instance by low IQ, relatively puggy one, sort of expected to see it. And this is where it comes down to whether the staffs guy is going to follow through. Here it is. Vertigo up second, guaranteed. Now it's going to come down to the bands. If low IQ have taken Mirage out, it probably means that they're going to take Dust 2 out as well, which is gone. And out of the two left over, staffs would probably take Nuke out of the equation. So Overpass is going to be our decider. Inferno, Vertigo, Overpass is the decision. And I mean, that Vertigo map is guaranteed. So that is really going to be an interesting one to look at.
So it's 2/3 of a standard pick for a NUEL game, isn't it? We've got our Inferno, we've got our Overpass, but the Instabanner Mirage throws things a little bit up in the air and brings Vertigo into the mix, which it's almost the most puggy map out of the three, I'm tempted to say, because Inferno lends itself to a little bit of strategy with utility at the very least, whereas Vertigo is just pure chaos.
Yeah, Inferno is a map that really heavily favors momentum as well, especially after the recent changes to both the economy and that the map went through. It means that your T side, while obviously the more difficult one, is really important to garner. And if you can build momentum and keep your economy alive, it's really easy to gain momentum on that T side nowadays. After, you've strung the first 3-4 rounds together, you can sort of just continue bullying the CTs into eco after eco if you're taking enough of them out in the full gun round situations. So it's going to be up to who can get up to a strong start here on Inferno. It looks like staffs are going to be starting T side. So with their opponent's map pick, they're still electing to start on the offensive side of things, which means they want to control the pace at the start of the game. They want to control how fast these executes come through. And based on what we've seen before, it looks like they're probably going to try and explode onto some of these sites and really just overwhelm their opponents with a combination of speed and firepower.
Just go for that pure aim play, right? And speaking about new players, as we did earlier, of course, it would be amiss of us not to mention that both of these teams have never won a NUEL series before, so we are going to have a new champion in this winter series. And I think that says a lot about the quality of teams we've been getting after such a dominant period from Warwick. This is where we're at now. We've got new teams coming, and we are killing it.
Yeah, and this is something that I was actually talking about over the weekend, in that we sort of had this really top tier of CS, especially in the last spring split, and just a couple of the splits before, where obviously you have Warwick who are being consistently dominant, and they, as a team, are one of the few that just brought this huge tactical approach to the game. They wanted to be drilled on a deep map pool. They wanted to use their tactics to overwhelm you and just all round be drilled and practiced. And then you had Swansea in the last spring split, who just had the absolute monster of Enzu, backed up by competent supporting riflers and in-game leadership, which basically allowed them to overtake the games. And both of those teams haven't gotten far enough at this point. Enzu obviously no longer available for that Swansea side. I think he's no longer a student anymore. So both of those teams, now that they're not quite as powerful as they are, it's really leveled the playing field a lot more when it comes to the overall level of skill that we see in the split. And it's an important one as well to look at carrying forward into the next one. The spring split is the big one with the big prizing available, all expenses paid trip to ESL1 Cologne, I think. So going to be looking at which teams do well here, and particularly if it's staffs, if they can claim back-to-back titles, spring's the one they're definitely going to want to be looking for.
And it's all about that momentum carry that we speak about from map to map. It carries from split to split as well. The teams that win, they tend to stick about. We saw it with Warwick and their ridiculous reign over the scene. But once you've got that one win under your belt, it becomes a little bit easier to turn up to those practice sessions, to really learn the maps to a deeper level and make a case for yourselves to almost be picked up by teams and start to build your career in CS. And I think both teams are really going to be looking to that. Obviously, we've seen some star players, and there's so much potential for teams to get picked up and opportunity to rise from this.
Yeah, absolutely. And as well, it tends to be less true in esports, but the theory is that the teams that win together stay together, right? And you're going to be much more likely to be able to keep together as a cohesive unit if you are winning those titles.
And we will be heading into the game. It's going to be Inferno, our first map of the best of three. And let's see what both teams bring to it. We're expecting a paced, controlled start from the Quiff Peak boys T-side, but they've picked up 2 techs and a P250 with a little bit of utility. So perhaps the fast play coming in early on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly expecting it. Tech9's up and ready to go at the expense of body armor, pretty much, which is a sort of a mixed bag of a decision when it comes to things, because obviously the USPSs, they're going to be going for those headshots because they want the one-click potential, and the body shots in terms of aim punch on a pistol round, not that significant, especially if you're really just rushing out at a CT with that Tech9 in hand and just going for the complete spam, then they probably are going to be a bit too overwhelmed to hit the shots.
Oh, Magic, though, managing to find the only opening as Relic does at least find the trade. Still one player on the site in the form of Eric Kante as he looks to hold it down. Headshot for the first. Bolton immediately there to recover, but worse than me has swung in from the library, and Relic has really got to get that bomb down now. They need to get this into the after plant. Just one smoke, one flash remaining on that T side as worse than me, still with a smoke and a defuse kit, starts to make the play from long, supported from short by Crit. He's up towards the hay bales as well, just looking to wait for the timing here. Ewan desperate to get some kind of a peek, as interestingly, Relic's dropped onto the USPS. That Tech9 is on the floor, doesn't trust it at all. There goes the flashbang, the peek towards short, not going to spot anything out. The timing couldn't be worse as well. Finds the first Ewan with a huge headshot. Almost an opportunity, but Crit just steadies the ship, and low IQ. They're going to get themselves the CT pistol on the board.
Yeah, I certainly don't think they're out of the woods yet. If there's one thing we know about Quiff Peak is they love this puggy play style. And in the new economy, it means that you can really contest these force buys in the second round. Now, I would have been expecting them to really just contest this early on, go for the complete buy and try and dominate, but it looks like they are going to go for the more conservative management of their economy here. Everyone just picking up the pistols, and you and the only one to take the body armor. So they want to contest actively in the full gun round next, and that could also actually work out in their favor, because it's likely that if low IQ survive with lots of players, especially these MP9s and the Scout, it's really likely that they end up carrying them forward into the next round rather than reinvesting in M4s.
Trying to get that bonus round out right. And with the Deagles, the Tech9s, the CZs, you've still got potential to get some damage. Try and perhaps just take that AUG away. If they can find Crit in towards the A bomb site, that would be an absolutely huge pick. And they are currently sort of amassing towards short. The bomb, just thinking about it as it goes towards Banana, and Relic starts to play with fire, takes the early tag of the Scout down to 14 as Bolton just not quite connecting on the spray how he perhaps would have hoped. And interestingly, it looks like Quiff Peak again going to try and head towards this A-bomb site, and this is where your rifles are, where your AUG is, and where your M4 is on 12 as well. So an opportunity perhaps to find some damage as they do just group up in the apartments, waiting for the timing. Crit getting a lot of damage as he takes out Bolton, and now it's all about keeping these M4s up, but Ewan's found one. The AUG looks to swing in on the recovery. Kawhi on the Deagle, desperate to get anything he can, and actually, both rifles are down, 2 on 1. That bomb can also get planted. There's just about enough time if he can work out where on earth it whiz, but he can't quite find it, and that's going to mean the CTs, they get the rotation in. And Relic on the AUG, how much more can you do? I would argue there's a case to be made just to lob that AUG over the wall and make it as difficult as possible for the CT side into round 3. But for the time being, He's happy to hold in the pit. He's waiting for his opportunity. And for the time being, nobody's going to push him. Nobody on that CT side looking to make the mistake. And Relic, he might just bail out of it. He's still unsure where that bomb is. Finally, he spotted it out. And Eric Kante just going to clean things up. That will allow the orb to be recovered. The M4 actually not going to be grabbed at all. So just those MP9 saved.
Yeah, now here's the decision from Low IQ, because they've got the players ready to buy up, but the money really stretched on guys like Crit and Magic. You know, their investment's going to be limited. So these MP9s are going to be making a presence in the round, and Crit just on the FAMAS. And here is where we're seeing Quiff Peak's eco in the last round potentially be significant, because they've got 3 Kriegs on the board and an AWP here in round 3. Really costly round for them to lose, but they've got the distinct gun advantage. If they could have, well, I mean, if Relic could have found that bomb somehow and put it down on the site, they'd have a little bit more utility to work with. But every cloud has its silver linings, I suppose, and these good weapons are going to be brought forward. And Quiff, they're taking things a lot slower than we initially anticipated, I think, on Inferno right now. Just making sure that they bait out their opponent's utility as much as they can and make sure that their CTs are going to have as little resources to work with as possible when these executes do come in. And based on the positioning right now, it looks like the Staffs guys want to hit this B site.
I think the T side, they'll be aware, of course, that they took those 2 rifles down, so they're going to know the CT economy's on the ropes, and it looked like Quiff Peak were just expecting a little bit of aggression from the CT side early on, and when it didn't come, they've been left a little bit out in the water, as the bomb does just bail away from that B bomb site, and it's going to be on to Hasnoodle, really, to find some kind of an entry. Ewan and Relic, see, again, they're just waiting for that CT aggression, but not coming through at the moment. They're going to wait in low IQ, and they're going to wait for them to really just execute straight into the crosshairs. Hasnoodle trying to make as much noise towards the A-bomb site as he can as the B hit looks to come through. Utility over the top, and what can worse than me do? He really needs to support Kante on the MP9 here. The utility drop buys them time at the very least, and there we go. Nothing for the MP9. It's all onto the M4. The rotation towards the coffins could be significant, but worse than me. He's got one. He's looking for more on the spray down, but they're ducking and weaving. Kawhi finds the refrag, and as Hasnoodle takes Crit down through the smoke, it starts to get very awkward. Spray through's going to be punished, as Hasnoodle, we spoke about him in the pregame, and he is turning up 12. Nothing he can do, and that is what happens when you lose all your rifles on the second round.
Yeah, first gun round convincingly taken then by Staffs on this T side. 4 players left alive as well means that their money is going to have quite a nice boost heading into this next round. And just off the back of the 1 loss, really, it looks like Low IQ, they should have considered the eco here, but it does look like they are just going to completely empty the bank, get absolutely everything they can, and that's going to come into fruition in the forms of a UMP in the hands of Magic as the best weapon available right now. And Quiff, they do the same thing they did in the last round. They play it slow. They wait for this aggression to come out from the CTs. Eventually, they are going to be rewarded with the picks that they're looking for. But it's about Hasnoodle right now not getting caught off guard by this close-range UMP play.
It's a really awkward angle to clear as well, as 12's just hoping beyond all hope that the Strafe Deeg does connect, but nobody going to be giving up any frags early on the Quiff Peak side of things, of course, as Hasnoodle, he reads it well, and he finds the early pick to take out Magic. That gives him the apartment's control to work towards short, and he'll see 12, but he won't be able to take him down. A lovely Deagle headshot. The nade will find its vengeance. Bolton taking down worse than me towards the B-bomb site, and that's going to speed things up. Kante on the P250 with it all to do, but bails towards second oranges, trying to buy some time for this rotation from 12 as the AK's picked up by Crit, but he's got it all to do. He's all alone on the site of P250. The smokes keep him isolated and nothing to be found. Kawhi just starts to clean things up, and at this point, I think Crit's going to hear the argument to save, but he finds the headshot through the smoke nonetheless on that AK-47, but it's important that he keeps that rifle up. The economy so busted on the CT side as 12 straight through the smoke does find himself a little bit of a gap, and perhaps can find an extra frag or so just to make this as expensive as possible for the T side of Quiff Peak. He's hiding behind the corner as Ewan does take down Crit. That's the rifle lost, and Relic just cleans things up, so Crit perhaps a little bit too aggressive there.
Yeah, certainly they would have been looking for a little bit more economic damage to have been done in the late round instance there, and even if they could find 3 players, it's sort of infinitely better than the 2 they only are able to get. And then, yeah, I'm really not sure why that AK from Crit is not saved forward in that round. I don't know why he decides to recontest with it. There's nothing to bring forward in this one off the back of that last force. They have to go for basically just the straight pistols at this point in time, which means Quiff should be guaranteed their 3rd on the board here. And Low IQ, they understand exactly what we were talking about. If the T side can get off to a really great start and build some momentum, their bank is going to be virtually untouchable. So it's about, in these eco rounds, just taking out as many of the players as you can and making it as expensive as possible for Staffs. Because if they allow their economy to just run away at this point in time, they're going to lose control of the defensive half.
Lovely little bait and switch there. Ewan finds one frag, but nothing more, and at least a rifle recoverable. Will they choose to save it at this point as the execute comes in towards A? Magic all alone, just a USBS to try and find something. Hasnoodle going to swing round and clear the angle. I thought he'd miss it for a split second, and worse than me, he's made the right call this time. He's saving that AK in towards the B bomb site. They know that their economy needs some bolstering. They need to start saving some rifles, as Crit is just sent a little bit of an exploration mission with the Deagle. He's going to be holding towards A long, but I don't think anybody over on the T side of things for Quiff Peak is really going to be making any aggressions. They know it's only pistols in this one. They know they've only given up one AK-47, and realistically, they should just be building their economy.
Yeah, playing well as well in these late round situations. Even though they know that they're up against Nico at this point in time, they're still committing all the utility towards this A-bomb site and making sure that these low IQ players have no opportunity to get back in and find some of these weapons, and really just showing the presence of mind from the staff side right now. They're not letting themselves get overconfident. They're not thinking that they can just get away with, oh, you know, it doesn't matter. What if they do recover an AK in the late round instance? It's not that important. Things like that, you know. They're really playing to hold all their advantages, using all the tools they have available in these rounds, even when it looks like they're going to win. And that looks like the mentality of a team who really want to take these finals.
And can we just talk about for a second how low IQ have used a timeout early on in a game? They have the money to buy, and they're going to talk about how they're buying. They're going to talk about how they want to approach this round. Finally, in University Esports, we are seeing teams using timeouts efficiently.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, really important, again, to try and counter that exact concept of momentum that we were talking about in the pre-game, right? Yeah. If your opponents are starting to run away with things and getting a quite healthy bank built up, throw that pause in, make them wait a little bit more. Don't let them ride the wave that they're currently on. And it's another hugely important round from low IQ. There's not enough money in the bank for them to pick up an AWP. Crit's AK save forward means he has a full complement of utility, but again, on the rest of the players, Grenade's slightly lacking, but Relic is very lucky to get away with his life there.
Very lucky to stay alive. 3 HP to his name. Does have the AK-47, so still opportunity for frags, but it's the perfect start for low IQ. Off the back of that pause, you could see the momentum for Quiff Peak. They wanted to take fast banana control, but the utility comes in and it punishes it brutally. We see Relic going down to just 3 points of health, and it really stalls the play from Quiff Peak early on. Double flashes, but the boost towards short is in, and with 2 players, 3 in fact, holding the short angle, you can see Hasnoodle's just aware of the possibility of the boost up on top of the hut, but still unable to punish, and it's left Quiff Peak looking a little bit lost without a cause here. They're holding up towards Banana. They're waiting for Hasnoodle really to find something towards the A-bomb site that just gives them any kind of indication of how the CTs are set up. They have zero information, and having lost so much HP on Relic, they're playing very cautiously in this early round.
Yeah, it seems like this is their textbook strategy here from the staff side, is commit Hasnoodle over towards apartments, get him to try and make some noise over on A, and then go for this fast B side execute off the back of it. Now he's going to fall down without finding any frags, but that Molotov is super important here, and it's going to buy a lot of time for CT rotations.
That allows the players to immediately look at that. The banana flag's coming in. They have to go quickly, Quiff Peak, and they know it, but worse than me, still alive. He has the FAMAS. Eric Kante finds one, and they're just starting to clean up before Kawhi and Bolton find a frag apiece. Crit on the fast flank gets 3, and that is the advantage of knowing how the round is panning out on the CT side.
Yeah, that again, we talked about, well, briefly mentioned how important that Molotov was. You saw exactly why. It bought enough time for Crit to get around in that banana position and then just clean it up. 3 quick kills from him, and thankfully the round does go the way of low IQ. They'll be thankful that that is gifted their way. There's still not enough money for them to pick up any AWPs, but it could be the potential T-side nightmare here. They've gifted the Kriegs to the CTs, and we've yet to see how effectively these defenders are going to be able to use that weapon to their advantage, but it's an important round for both sides to win here. Just look at the cash. Basically nothing available for both sides, and 12 downing Hasnoodle like that is a great way for these CTs to start.
You can see Hasnoodle, he seems quite aware of the CT positioning towards the A-bomb site, but he really hasn't been able to capitalize yet, and that wallbang just symptomatic of how these early rounds have been going for Quiff Peak. They've had some success, but the CT side have been punishing their every move, and once again, they find themselves in a very similar situation to the previous round, just 3 HP more of difference as they find themselves virtually in a 5-on-4. Kante on the MP9, he's actually on his own towards the B-bomb site, just worse than me with the M4 in support, as again, it's a heavy stack of this A-bomb site initially from the low IQ lads. They seem to have a little bit of a read of how Quiff Peak like to play it, and again, it's a little bit slow from the T side. They just look like they get a little bit lost when they lose that opening pick. bundling utility towards the A-bomb site, but not really committing behind it for the time being. Now they start to rotate in. Now they take that bracket control with 40 seconds left on the clock, but these Kriegs, they've got all the angles in the world to work with as the AWPs, the M4s, the rifles, whatever they can afford, make their way up. Ewan with a lovely frag to open things up, but now the crossfire comes into play. The Kriegs, what can they get done here? Kawhi, his head is ripped off by Twirl, and look at this, the T-side, they don't know where to look. Twirl gets a second, Crit finally chimes in with one of his own, and Bolton is just cleaned up, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you don't give Kriegs to the CT side.
That is a lethal crossfire setup in that A-bomb site right there. Crit on one side with a Krieg, watching the angle, and then his teammate on the other. I think it's just worse than me there, or 12 rather, sorry, on the other side with that Krieg himself, and it's absolutely insane the amount of damage they're able to do. It's a textbook example of CT crossfires being set up absolutely perfectly, and when you don't have any utility to root those players out, it's so dangerous. And speaking of utility, Staff's getting ripped apart by it at the start of this round on just the eco. They're virtually demolished by those HGs. It looks like they're just going for the spam through the smokes right now, praying they get something, and Ewan will remove one of the Kriegs from the round, and if it's ended relatively quickly, it might not be recoverable, but Magic is on pretty close angle to try and retrieve one, so if he can pick that Krieg up, there'll be 3 up for the CTs in the next round.
Oh, just spamming through the smoke. It's playing with fire against these Deagles as well. You can see Kawhi just finds half a gap in it, and if Crit gets too aggressive, he's in trouble, but Hasnoodle caught up by the Molotov, and Crit actually able to capitalize as well. It's all about what these 2 remaining Deagles can find. For Ewan and Kawhi, how much more damage can you get before the death of this round? The bomb, interestingly, has made its way around towards the A-bomb site in the meanwhile, and currently there's just Magic over there with the Krieg, so he's leaving himself in a lot of trouble, but as the flashbang comes through, the information will be transferred, and worse than me finds the headshot to take down Kawhi, but look at this play from Ewan. He's thinking about it. He's making his way all the way into CT, and this is all about the read from the low IQ lads. Crit is alone on the site, but he is looking towards CT spawn. I think the information has been got across well, and he will be able to clean things up on top of the fountain, taking down Ewan. Only the 1 frag given up by low IQ, and they're starting to really come into their own on the CT side.
Yep, and they've increased the number of Kriegs available as well on this next round. 3 up in total across the side. Magic with the AWP sort of shaping up to be a very long-range defense from them. They've got the range. They've got 4 scopes. Oh, no, they have thrown one of the Kriegs away in favor of that AWP, so just the 3 scopes on the side. Narrowly missed shot there by Magic. Utility limited again by these Ts as they eat grenades towards Banana. Kawhi and Relic tagged down very low at the start of the round yet again. Pretty much just flashes and smokes to work with, save a couple of HEs from the Quiff guys. Looking rough for them in terms of an execute. No mollies to force any CTs out of their angles here, and we know just how powerful the CTs in this A site can be when they're rooted in the positions with the Kriegs.
I think we're starting to see why low IQ picked this map. Bolton walking into the AWP, but Magic again not looking on top form. Misses another shot. Bolton just wandering out of Boiler is traded at the very least. But it's all about what Quiff Peak can get going here. 12 bails his teammate out as Crit with the AWP in hand. Won't even mind those few tags. He's down to 19. But he knows he only needs 1 opportunity to get the frag. And with a minute left on the clock, Quiff Peak, again, they're bailing out of plan A and heading instead towards the B bomb site, where Relic, he's been holding this whole time towards top Banana. But worse than me, still on the bomb site. Eric Kante still there. The 2 M4s to try and lock this one down as the execute comes through. No smoke for CT. So they're going to have to clear so many angles. 3 flashes, 1 HE, all that are going to be available for the T side of Quiff Peak as the push comes in. And how much damage can the CT side find? Lovely pop flash from Eric Kante, but his teammate's been taken out. He can only find 1. The AWP of Crit misses the shot on the crossing player. That's bombed down 2 on 2, and this is all about the play from Crit. How many frags can he find early on? He spots out 1, just the shoulder, but Ewan is able to ward him off for the time being. He's waiting for the support, waiting for that Krieg on the hands of 12. He's covering him now, but Ewan with a swift headshot for 1. We spoke about how big he can go, and it's all on 12. 1 versus 2. Krieg in hand, utility being pummeled into him. Kawhi on low HP. And Quiff Peak, they are not done yet. They are coming back into this one.
And that is a very fortunate round for those Ts to win. Limited utility available, and it all goes wrong at the start over on that A-bomb site. Remember, they lose a couple of frags in quick succession after only garnering 1 for themselves, and it looks really dangerous for them in the round. Ultimately, they are able to do it, and they have forced out one of the weirdest buys I've seen so far this split from the low IQ guys. Double AWP setup, which means Twirl has to just pick up the Deagle. There's an AUG even in the hands of Crit as well, and we've seen, you know, usually one of those rifles get brought out, but worse than me on one of the AWPs, he's found the frag over towards B early on. Crit, he's found Hasnoodle as well, and Relic can't even refrag. All of a sudden, it goes wrong for Stabs again.
All of a sudden, you find this buy looking more and more justifiable. Crit takes a few tags and will just bail out of that situation on the 5-on-3, but 12's heard the reload and he's going to capitalize for one of his own. This is huge from Low IQ. They took a risk with this buy and it is working out perfectly so far as Bolton and Ewan. I think they're just thinking about the economy with so much time left on the clock. They need to try and find some frags. They need to try and make this expensive for the CT side, but with just an AWP and an AK-47, they do have utility at the very least, but how do they get back into this round? The CT side, you're starting to see why Low IQ picked this one up. They look like they've got a good read on what Quiff Peak are trying to achieve. Their utility down Banana has been excellent every time we've seen Quiff Peak trying up the pace. They've been punished brutally, and with 50 seconds left on the clock, they really look like they're a bit lacking for an execute here. They're going to send Ewan towards Banana, but not really getting much information at all for the time being.
Yeah, it might even be worth just the full save out in this situation. There's really not very much money left available to purchase up in the next instance from them, so an AWP and an AK could be valuable weapons to save forward as well when you consider that 12's just on a Mach 10 at the moment, which he's recovered from this T side. That is a monstrous AWP shot from Bolton, though, on the execute, and if they can find one more frag in this B side, it could be open, but the flanks are already coming through.
Eric Kante being taken down by Ewan. That at least opens up the site, but Bolton, no idea the flank is there. That's an easy trade. Ewan again is turning up a lovely shot. He's going to find another. He's on for it. He's looking for the quad quill. Twirl in the one-on-one, but Ewan with no information to work with. He hasn't spotted the player towards Banana, and Twirl, he's played time so perfectly. Low IQ. Oh, for a moment you believed. He will save the AWP at the very least, but a lost opportunity for the T side.
Yeah, just even if there's 10 more seconds left on that clock, he can get back on the site, recover the bomb, and at least fake a plant, which could bait some movement out of there from Low IQ. But I mean, that's individual potential right there. We did say that he might be a player to look out for. He's got 11 frags so far in 11 rounds. He's got an AWP in this particular eco, and if he's able to explode that like that a couple more times, there could be a pretty healthy T side on the boards here from Quiff. Remember, it's the more difficult side on this map. 6-7 rounds, that's more than enough to work with if their T side is tightly organized enough. And they're looking to take Banana control yet again, but only one flash on Ewan means that this inevitable B execute is going to be so hard to execute.
They've got to try and force some of these CT players off the angles. They can't keep relying on that raw aim as Bolton, thinking about the 1Ds to open things up, spots out the player at the fountain and does find an early tag for his shots. And again, the rotation's very swift indeed, but has Noodles caught a CT player getting a little bit too aggressive? And look at the call. They're just going to bail out of that B-bomb site and instead head towards a Magic in the apartments with an MP9. A huge job to do here. Catches Has Noodle out in the open, but can't quite find the frag. Brings him down to half health, and that will allow the rotations to come in. As the T side, they set themselves up for this A play. They've got the man advantage, and the rotations are going to make it 5-on-2 as the execute starts to come through. Has Noodle first out on the M4, taken down by Magic. Can they find this MP9? But it's allowing the M4 to come in the meanwhile. Spray's good for one. Bolton trades, but Magic, he's still up and kicking, still there. Now he's on the pistol. He's got yet another frag, and last man, Relic, at least able to find us again in the 2v1, but this time perhaps he can actually try and recover the bomb. Gonna grab himself.
Oh, that's the wrong weapon.
The wrong weapon, but he will switch it out for the AWP. 2-on-1. Both CT players in the library as Relic. He's just got to try and get that bomb, and he has managed to grab it onto his back. He could get the bomb plant here, fake it out, and you could have the library players. He's got plenty of utility still to work with, and nobody from the CT side peeking just yet. That Molotov buys him so much time, but they're going to go straight through it. They've been heard, and it's all on the AWP. He finds the first, but can't quite find the second. The reload time just not quite quick enough. Worse than me, bailing his teammates out on 11 HP as well.
Another close round there for Low IQ to win, and you're thinking Relic has a little bit of a nightmare finding and picking things up again. It was a bomb in a previous round, and this time it was the gun and the bomb that slightly eluded him. He does eventually get them done, and I mean, yeah, that Molotov is in such a great place. Yeah, it really nearly opens up that round. 12 HP, the difference maker in that one. Super close considering that the Staffs guys didn't buy absolutely anything. They just had the save forward AWP, and I think maybe Ewan might have picked up a flashbang or something like that, but still. Staffs now, this is a round that it needs to be won. It's a full gun round. They've got the Kriegs on the board. Crits dropped down to an MP9, and his opponent's economy are really not great right now. If Staffs wanted to come back into this game, build up some more momentum for themselves, this would be the round to kickstart things and get it done. With a 3-man stack in the B-bomb site, they've got to be careful that they don't just aggress straight into it.
I like this from low IQ, mixing up the play, but Crit with an opportunity to take out Relic early on. Hasnoodle bailing his teammate out of that one to find the early opening, and this is where that 3-man B stack starts to look a little bit awkward. 12 very rapidly rotating in, but for the time being, Magic, he's all alone towards that B bomb site. AWP in hand, A bomb site, what am I on about? AWP in hand. He makes his way up onto the boxes. The M4 has come into support in the form of 12, but as the T's start to swarm, there's a huge job to do. Magic finds one, the M4 on the spray, can't find Relic. Magic still on that AWP, still finding frags, almost catches Ewan on the drop, but he's taken out all the same, and he's bought his team the man advantage. That bomb can go down as the rotations come in from the CT side, and it's all about the afterplant now with quite a bit of utility actually on the CT side, but they don't look like they're going to commit to this one at all. They're holding back. They're looking for any kind of T-sided picks, perhaps players getting a little bit too aggressive, but as that clock slowly ticks down, it looks more and more like they're just going to save the 2 rifles they have.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely the right decision for them when you look at how much money they have left in the bank. And some really important flashbangs going out onto the A site there from Staffs, actually. Magic, obviously, in the site does very well to get the double kill that he does, considering how surrounded he is. But he has a supporting rifler who is in position to deal a heavy amount of damage onto these T players. But a flash completely blinds him. And then it looks like he might still convert frags as Relic's just missing his opening Krieg shots. Thankfully, he's able to convert them, though. That deals with the supporting rifler, and that basically denies the crossfire potential. Honestly, if those shots from Relic miss for just a second longer and he's able to convert the frag, I think it's Crits who's on the site. He's able to convert the frag onto the player in pit. You've got a CT crossfire set up yet again with a Krieg and an AWP in this A bomb site, and I don't think Staffs get an entrance in that situation. So it's a very important kill to convert, and it's an important round for them to garner. And based on those saved rifles, low IQ, they're going to force here, which means if they lose, they've probably broken the bank for the rest of the half. But if they win, they're hoping to stay competitive in gun rounds all the way to the end.
Quiff Peak, almost sensing that lack of economy, have gone very quickly towards Top Banana. They know the CT utility is going to be limited, and they've used it to their advantage. And look at this, they're bleeding the nades out. The smokes, the mollies being dropped by the CT side is worse than me. Taking a lot of Molotov damage, nothing he can do to stop the onslaught. Relic finds one, the FAMAS spray, finding so much damage. Finally a frag at the very least as Magic takes down the A player, but the B bomb site is completely open. And for Twirl and Magic, they've got to make the long rotation. That bomb going to go down freely. And do they commit to this? Again, we spoke about how much they'd invested into this round, how heavy the investment was, and it looks like they're done with it yet again. They're looking to give themselves the opportunity to buy towards the death of this first half, and that's going to mean shipping a 6th round the way of the Staffs boys and really putting them in the driving seat of map 1.
Yeah, again, 2 rifles going to be safe forward, but the economy more limited because of that force buy in the previous instance. So it'll be interesting to decide what they do, because we're heading into round 14 of the half soon, which means that obviously in round 15, you have to buy everything that's available to you because it's the last round of the half and it's just a waste of money not to do so. But in this next round instance, they're going to be in a really awkward position. Their money is going to be very disjointed because they've had 2 players save and the rest forced up. And I mean, if they buy, what can they bring forward? Deagles and some head armor, maybe a FAMAS onto Eric Kante, should they want it. They could consider dropping rifles even if they want to go for the full gun round in this, but it would mean basically no investment if they wanted the full in round 15. So it looks like they are just going to go for the hard eco in this instance. Just try and keep the rifles that they have alive if they are going to end up in a round loss situation, and try and deal as much economic onto the Staffs guys as they can to make sure that their last buy of the half is as scuffed as possible.
And that's a lovely nade to open things up, bringing Ewan down to half HP. That starts to make those P250s, those Deagles, feel all the more lethal. As Quiff Peak, once again, just slowing this round right down. I think they're aware that we've seen so many force buys coming out from low IQ that another one at this point wouldn't be inconceivable. So treating it very cautiously, using the utility early on and just clearing map control. But it's going to be a wholehearted A site hit coming in from the T side. So much map control gathered towards B that they know they can start to commit towards other areas of the map as well. Bracket taken freely as Twirl and Crit, they try and recreate the crossfires of old from the mini pit and from the site respectively. Both players, they'll be hoping to pull off a miracle here, as again, it is going to be the early commitment towards this A bomb site. The rotations have been called, though. Magic is going to be in the library with that AK-47. And can this T side make it through? Can Quiff Peak find the frags? Crit with the 1 Deke opens things up. Finds the frag on the Relic, and actually, Quiff Peak just starting to bail out before Ewan finds the refrag. Deagle of Crit, nothing more he can do. Kawhi takes him out, and the M4, too many angles at once as Hasnoodle and co just start to clean things up. Worse than me on the P250, looking to catch the AWPer off guard, and actually another missed shot this time from Bolton, but he cleans up his own mess. And Quiff Peak, they draw level at 7 apiece, and the economy, again, it's not great for low IQ.
Yeah, utility is going to be limited in this one after the guns do come through. It's vital that they pick up smokes over everything else, though, especially for those B-side players. Defense is virtually entirely predicated on utility in that instance, and thankfully, even Twirl is going to make the interesting decision of dropping down onto the MP9 so that he can pick up as much utility as possible, which is something that you have to agree with. Situationally, they've been using those SMGs very well right now. Relic he goes over-aggressive straight into a Molotov and just gets hammered by grenades, and there's 2 down in the position. There's nowhere safe for him to retreat to. Kawhi nearly gifted 2, but he gets re-aggressed into, and all of a sudden it's a 3 versus 3 situation in a messy banana tape.
How has this happened? Ewan with no idea about the player behind the sandbags, worse than me, just about able to capitalize, but that's actually drawn the rotation back. Bolton spots out the Org of Crit. He knows the apartment support is there, and has Noodle. That's a bomb plant. How has this round deteriorated into a 2-on-2 with the plant for Quiff Peak? They're looking to take the advantage into the half of low IQ's map pick. That would be absolutely huge on the T side, but Magic, and worse than me, they're still alive, still in the server, still trying to cause havoc. Very limited in their utility, at the very least. Worse than me has a defuse kit, but that's all the way out towards A long as Magic makes his way through the apartments, looking to spot out anybody he can. Hasnoodle giving nothing away. Bolton perhaps a little bit too aggressive on the site, but Hasnoodle's there to bail him out with the early opening, and worse than me, with just 19 HP left, finding so many tags, but he will be cleaned up. And Quiff Peak, at the end of the first half, they've got the advantage here on Inferno.
Yeah, Hasnoodle there saves the round with a good triple, and look how pretty balanced the fragging is here for the staff side, at least. Obviously, Ewan and Hasnoodle, 2 players we were saying you want to watch for popping off, but the rest are on the same amount of kills. And on the other side of things, for low IQ, it's Crit who's leading the way. 15 frags in the first half is still a commendable performance. Unfortunate that they weren't able to take the advantage through, and now, theoretically, Quiff are moving on to the easier half here of their opponent's map pick. It means that low IQ, they're going to be feeling the pressure a bit. They want to take this pistol round, and it's an all-out banana rush to do it.
Fast B play to come in early on. The utility not really being dropped by the CT side, and they're going to have to hit their shots here. Kawhi going to be left in the dark as Bolton taken out with a lovely headshot from Eric Kante. At least damage done through the smoke, but this is going to be a free plant as Magic trying to contest towards the coffins, trying to make life as difficult as possible for this CT side. They have banana control, but worse than me takes that away immediately. 5-on-3 now for Quiff Peak to try and find this pistol retake, and it is looking more and more improbable. At least Hasnoodle finds the early opening, looks for something, and now the frags start to come. Hasnoodle's got 3 out of nowhere, looking for the quad, but he runs out of bullets. Ewan's there to bail him out. There's still time on the clock. The Molotov goes towards the bomb. Kawhi, he knows exactly where worse than me is, and he's done it. How have Quiff Peak pulled that off? A 5-on-3 onto the B-bomb site. Pro teams don't like those odds, and Quiff Peak have done it.
Hasnoodle is insane. He just comes from CT. Both of his supporting players there are over towards construction, which means they are unable to assist him. There is, in no feasible situation, are they able to frag onto a player that could be peeking Hasnoodle in that area. He's completely isolated and on his own, and he has to find frags. Gets 3 absolutely huge ones onto players who his teammates, they're on just such huge off angles that his teammates are in such huge disadvantages if they peek into those angles that they're basically guaranteed to lose the gunfights. So Hasnoodle just carries it all on his own, 3 massive headshots, and basically just forces Staffs to win that round. And unfortunately, worse than me, gets the positioning of the Molotov wrong in the clutch round situation. That means that the full defuse is actually able to come through anyway. So even if Kawhi doesn't convert that kill, they probably win. And Quiff now looking to convert a relatively easy anti-eco, but somehow the pistol frags have gone the other way, and this B site's all open.
That gives a rifle up as well. Magic's going to grab himself a FAMAS as the bomb looks to go down, and the rotation's very slow indeed. Fast in towards construction, the T side, they've been heard, but Magic on that FAMAS finds himself a pick, starts to make life awkward. There's tags for these MP9s to work with, but they've got to find a lot more than tags. The nade over the top, just a little bit too deep. The Deagle stays up. And now what can these CT-sided players find? Hasnoodle with another huge performance, and he will find the opening pick. Taking out Magic, looking for more Crit, ducking and diving. 12 trades 1-for-1. Hasnoodle versus Twirl. He got the better of him in the previous round. The M4 trying to get aggressive around these boxes, and the running spray will do it. Quiff Peak
No
by
time.
the skin on their teeth. Has he not got time?
No kit.
Surely he had it there.
No kit.
Man, he bails out of it. 3 frags to his name, but he can't get the defuse, and low IQ. They're bailing out of this one. They've just bailed themselves out.
Yeah, that's a nightmare situation. He's basically lost that round completely because he doesn't have a kit in hand, and I mean, there's an argument to make on whether he's close enough in the time frame anyway, but a commendable effort there from, I think it's worse than me, left alive on the Deagle just there. Does absolutely everything he needs to. Stalls for the time completely, and I mean, if somehow low IQ win that round. It's the nightmare situation for the CTs because they lose the second round after even what looks like a particularly won situation. Hasnoodle with back-to-back triples is not enough to convert the second round instance, but they're going to force up into this regardless. The FAMASs and that M4 available, but it's just 3 flashes left for the CT side to try and defend with a minute and a half left on the clock.
That time must have been so close. I thought if he got on that bomb, he would have had it. But look what it's done to the CT economy. Deagles, 1 M4, a couple of FAMASs, all they can afford to bring into this round. And Bolton just thinking about recreating some happy level antics, but instead he's going to back off towards that B-bomb site. They know the CT side. Quiffpeak know how important this round is, as Hasnoodle is a little bit isolated underneath the heart. He finds one, finds the dink as well. That allows Ewan at least to trade 1 for 1. But again, perhaps a little bit too aggressive. The rifles are down now, and that A-bomb site is completely open. You can see the CT side reacting to it. They're aware that this site should be relatively free to take, and Bolton, he's only rotating in with a Deagle. He has a huge job to do. Kawhi looking to perhaps help his teammate out. But with 2 Deagles, how can they hold down this site? With 2 Kriegs and an AK coming into them, the smoke buying even more time. Bolton just hoping for an angle, perhaps a little bit of an off-peak coming in from the cubby as the push does come towards long. It's going to be Bolton on the Deagle. The counter-deak distracts them. He gets what he gets 2! He gets the collapse for the third, and Bolton bails Quiffpeak out yet again. It's the individual skill of these players shining through.
Oh, the crossfire is beautiful. I was thinking there, he's tucked in the corner, and initially when he's peeking out, his shoulder's actually exposed. So I'm thinking, okay, has he been spotted there? Has somebody identified that he is actually tucked in this little cubby? And then when I hear the flash get thrown, I'm thinking, is he going to get aggressive now and peek out instead? But no, the low IQ guys go over, and because his teammate in Library has just fired those shots off, oh, the Deagle play is able to come through. It saves the round, but Crit, he's opened onto Bolton again, and if Staffs aren't careful, this could be another round where a lot of damage is done by pistols.
Kawhi only able to find 1 before worse than me starts taking his teammates out as well, and it's looking so expensive yet again. It's Magic, and he's managed to get it down to a 1-on-2 with the possibility of a bomb plant. Ewan, desperate to stop it, might just lend himself to the Deagle crosshair, and I don't think he has any idea. Oh, he has just spotted him out, and now it's all on Magic. Deagle in hand. I think he's just going to straight stick this bomb plant, get the extra 800. And now the rotation has to come through. Kawhi on that AK-47 to support Ewan on the M4. This time they do have defuse kits, but again, low IQ making this round so expensive with so little investment as Ewan. He goes towards short, and Magic with the perfect angle to cut this one out. He's just waiting for the aggressions of the CT side. They have no idea where to look. Ewan looking completely the wrong way. The missed Eagle shot gives away his position, but Magic finds the first, and it's on to Kawhi. He's got to push into the Deagle, but he will find the frag nonetheless. The bomb will be defused, and Quiffpeak will have an 11th despite significant economic losses.
Yeah, this time a kit is available in the clutch situation, which means Quiff will pick up 11, and that economic damage very important because Hasnoodle and Bolton, they aren't going to be able to pick up full rifles, armor, and utility in this particular instance, and AWP's already been dropped by Relic onto Hasnoodle, so he's going to be given an M4A1S, which, I mean, of all of the meta assault rifles, that is definitely my least favorite one. And the utility, though, very limited for the staff guys at this point in time. Relic has absolutely nothing to work with, and it's all getting expended in the early round. Crit has run through the Molotov. Kawhi, all he has to do to live there is stay behind the sandbags. I guess he's trying to bait out deliberately to get Crit to keep standing in that molly, but unfortunately, just the peeking there really not working out for him now. 4v4 situation, and low IQ. Look how much more utility they've got than staffs here.
They can plan this execute out to the last detail, and they have so much utility to make it work. That little step gives away Ewan's position, but he still finds the frag, brought down to 26, but he's found the shot to make this round work as they start to gang up towards that B-bomb site. Low IQ Relic looks to get aggressive down mid, but worse than me's reading this beautifully. He's got the timing, he's got the drop on him, and he'll find the frag. That leaves a very lonely figure in Bolton towards the B-bomb site, but interestingly, T-side, they're looking to head back towards A as Ewan gets aggressive. He hears that reload, he knows it's underneath him somewhere, but can he find the frag? He can't. Worse Than Me takes him out. That is absolutely huge. And now, just one AWP and a FAMAS has Noodle with a huge job to do. The utility bombs onto this B bomb site as the execute starts to come through. And what can the AWP find? He's fully smoked out of this one. Nothing more he can do. Hasnoodle, at the very least, has taken down the flank, and that starts to make it a little more viable as the plant is going to come through. 12 straight through the smoke finds Bolton, and Hasnoodle, he's picked up the 4A1. He needs the 1v2, but he's up against a Krieg and an AK-47 with zero utility and such good after-plant positions for the T side. Look at the crossfire they have established here. Hasnoodle manages to get himself up onto the AK-47, picks up a defuse kit for his troubles as well, but so many angles to clear, so little time on that clock, and he's starting to get the idea of this crossfire. 12 is there, nothing he can do. Eric Kante guns him down from behind. The AWP is saved, and this game is starting to go right down to the wire.
Yeah, great one there from Low IQ. I think Bolton on the AWP, when the spray does come through from that smoke, I think his barrel might have just been sticking out at the end of it, because when he falls down, his model is just about within it. It looks like he's stepping inside, so maybe his gun would have been sticking out the other end. But otherwise, either way, incredibly good presence of mind there from University of Western England to be able to convert that round. Very important one as well. And I mean, this is a really interesting decision from Staffs. I'm not sure whether I can agree with the force buy in this situation, because they just got the pistols and an SMG available. They lose this round. Low IQ, they're on 10 rounds. Staffs still probably don't have that much money to work with in the next instance. And then their opponents are within spitting distance of tying things up again. It's got to be about individual plays. Look at Relic right now. Look how much map control he's gotten. All the info indicates that this B execute is going to come in. It's about hitting the shots now for Staffs.
The CT side could not ask for a better opportunity. The utility dump comes through. Bolton with the pop flash. UMP on top of the smoke, but look at that. The T side have gone straight through it, and Worse Than Me will be the first to find blood. Kawhi on the edge of the smoke. There's so many tagged up players as he finds one. Tags can find the second, and Crit just about bailing him out. The frags are frenetic, but Low IQ, they just about get away with that one. So much damage done, and perhaps if one or two more shots land, Quiff Peak, they were so close to getting themselves back into that round.
Yeah, I mean, it's the perfect play from Relic to get all of the information that they need. But unfortunately, I think they just missed the timing there. They sort of end up in that weird zone where the flank can't come through in time. And when you're actively contesting the bomb site in that situation, they have, like, the T's have enough time to deal with the players who are burrowed in the sites and then turn around and deal with the flanking guys. And it means that, unfortunately, the Quiff Peak team aren't able to convert that round in what was otherwise looking like a pretty good situation for them. Now they're on the hard eco. Nothing to bring forwards. Low IQ pretty much guaranteed here to tie things up at 11-11 on their map pick as 12. Finds frags. They're all getting tagged down low, but it's a pretty clean anti-eco situation right now here from the Low IQ side. 11-11. The money from Staffs is going to be better in the next round, but still not perfect. I mean, Bolton can't afford no one can afford an AWP bar Kawhi, and that's a hell of a risky buy if they do want to put it onto him. So it's going to be another pretty strained buy here on Inferno for Staffs on the CT side, and 3 orgs. That's going to stretch their economy so thin that I don't even think there's going to be any damage-dealing utility brought forward in this round.
Just the one HE picked up to spite you on the back of Bolton. He drops down to a FAMAS to allow him to at least get some utility. But look at this from Low IQ. They are barreling towards this A-bomb site. They know the utility is low. They're just going to look to go quickly. And now the spray not going to find its early target. Fully blinded. That's a lovely frag. But Hasnoodle and Relic, the crossfire is just too good. Magic all of a sudden finds himself last man on the server. He's spotted out one at least. He's got the AWP to work with. But that was a huge mistake. The economy was so low on the CT side, and instead, Low IQ, they just go quickly. They play right into their awaiting hands, and Magic, with it all to do, misses the initial shot. He's being flanked from short. He just about hears the footsteps, but he's got to connect. He finds Kawhi. Relic looks to put pressure, and Quiff Peak. That was so close, but they managed to find themselves the round. The lack of utility just not really worked out by Low IQ.
I mean, that looked like a really dangerous round for Quiff Peak then in that instance, because when the rush from Low IQ begins to come through, they're trying to set up some kind of boost onto the hay cart there, on the hay bales. They're really trying to get players stood on top of each other for some kind of odd off angle. I'm assuming they're trying to basically get up onto the roof, but ultimately players are just not jumping on their heads properly. The movement's super messy, and thankfully they're able to turn around in time. Ewan does get traded out, but Hasnoodle saving the round with a triple. Opening frag in this one going the way of 12. As apartments control is afforded by Low IQ, but look at this positioning from the Quiff Peak side, rather. 3 players nearly committed into this B bomb site. They've obviously got Hasnoodle in a very quick rotationary position right now, but it looks like they're expecting a B hit to come through.
Ooh, Ooh, good damage through the smoke onto Twirl as well. But again, Low IQ find themselves with every feasible advantage. They've got manpower, they've got utility, and Crit through the smoke is going to find another. Taking out Relic, that might just tempt them towards the B bomb site, but instead, the T side look to commit their presence towards A. Finally, Kawhi able to find an opening pick for Quiff Peak, taking out Crit, and that actually just forces that bomb back. It was thinking about going towards the B bomb site, but instead it is going to head into the crosshairs of Ewan and Hasnoodle. They have been huge for the Quiff Peak boys so far, but can they find the frags they need? Hasnoodle just looks like he's going to get caught in no man's land here, finds the spray for one, can't quite adjust as Eric Kante trades things out, and now it's a very lonely figure in the form of Ewan. He's got the FAMAS, he makes his way into the apartments to try and give himself some room to maneuver, and the bomb's going to look to go down. Oh, he just spotted out Eric Kante there, but that Molotov's going to put him in no man's land. The rotation from Kawhi is so slow as the bomb goes down. He's going all the way down Banana to try and find his way back into this round. And I think for the CT side, there's half an argument to be made just to save. Their economy is so busted again, as Ewan just goes probing towards the apartments, trying to work out what he can perhaps find at the very depth of this round. But Kawhi, he's not even committing to it. He's trying to keep his hands on that creek.
Yeah, right now Ewan just trying to deal that late round damage by the looks of things. He's not going to be able to garner any of it, and that means that Kawhi, he's definitely got to save this Krieg forward, and this is where he gets really tense in the late half situation. The money from Staffs is pretty much gone here with the Krieg save forward. Low IQ, they're tying things up at 12-12, which means that both sides only need 4 more rounds to pick up this first map here, and that translates into there really not being any room for mistakes anymore. You know, every single round you lose at this point puts your opponents that much closer to claiming victory here, that every round needs to be thought out, and the decisions that are made need to be done with enough reasoning and logic to back them up. And it looks like the Staffs guys, they're going to go for the eco here. They've got about $2,000 up on the players. Now, if Kawhi can survive with the Krieg, or someone can carry the Krieg forward into the next round, and they can get a full buy around that, it's going to look much healthier to contest. But the next round is going to be so important in deciding how this first map ends.
It looks like Low IQ are just starting to feel their way back into this one. For a moment, with the T-sided half that Quick Peak had, you thought that they were going to get lost in it, and Vertigo coming up next, the insane fragging ability of some of these Quick Peak boys, it was just going to collapse around them. But now, they are really starting to feel their way into the finals. Kawhi manages to find an opening pick, and that's actually a Krieg recoverable as well. But now, the Execute comes in towards the Pistols, and Low IQ, they've got so many opportunities just to find frags. Magic and 12 with one apiece, and it's on to Hasnoodle again. How many times have Quiff Peak asked a miracle of him in the mini pit? He grabs one, but nothing more is worse than me trades. With 2 Kriegs still up on the board, there's an argument to be made for this one for Quiff Peak. It's as good an opportunity as they've had before. And as Ewan makes his way into the apartments, if he can find worse than me here, this starts to believe, but instead, worse than me takes him down very swiftly indeed. And Kawhi in the 3 versus 1, it's just about exit frags and perhaps keeping his hands on that Krieg to give his team some kind of economy to build around in round 26.
Yeah, he's kind of wrecked in this position from a saving point of view. I really don't see how he's able to get away with his life, because he has to drop down and make sound from this position, which means that he has to get a kill here. He will get one, and okay, that should give him the room to escape. So it's really important he keeps that Krieg forward. Low IQ know it. They're pressuring here. Worse than me is going to flash out the position and hopefully be able to convert the kill. That's what he's looking for at least, and he will do it. So the Krieg denied forward. The money, though, I mean, Staffs, yeah, they can force a buy in this instance. Orps, it is going to be bought by Bolton, but he's got no body armor at this point. He's going to have to glass cannon in this round to try and deny Low IQ from getting 14, and they got to empty the bank for a buy in this one as well, which means that if Low IQ win, they're going to be on a 14-round situation up against opponents who will not be able to have a very comfortable buy in the next instance. And this is what we were talking about when it comes to the T side, building that momentum and making sure that their economy stays preserved, because it only really takes a lot of economic damage, 3 players at least killed in a round, 4 or 5 absolutely brilliant, obviously, as the T side. But they can eliminate at least 3 players on the CT side. They pressure the money to this extent that their buys will be pretty comfortable, whereas they have to force these CTs onto ecos all the time. And Low IQ, they know that right now. They're just waiting for the Staffs guys to get a bit over-aggressive and give a pick away so that they can open into a bomb site. And again, look at that CT side utility. There's basically nothing to work with.
Low IQ, they know how important this round is. If they win it, the game, the map is on a silver platter, but Bolton, he's not done just yet. Finding the opening pick through the smoke and so close to a second, but Crit looking to get aggressive, trying to put the pressure back on this CT side. Only 3 players towards the A-bomb site for the time being, as Crit does manage to take that long control, and this is all about the timing. Hasnoodle swings well. Quiff Peak, they know this round is essential. This map is essential to their chances of winning, and they are coming into it the right way. 2 opening picks. They're starting to feel their way back into this. Relic walks into the crossfire, though. Magic starts to bring low IQ back into things, and the timing couldn't be worse. They're going to rotate around, take that bomb back towards the B bomb site where Ewan and Kawhi, they look to form some kind of a crossfire. Again, the utility so low on the CT side. It's all about the fragging power as the crossfire looks to come into effect. Kawhi not able to hit the shot, but Ewan is there to bail him out. And now Magic and Worse Than Me. How do they even get into this site? Ewan's going to swing. Kawhi's going to find the pick. And it's on Ewan to hold down the site. He does a perfect job. 4 players kept alive by the CT side as well. It just allows their economy to start coming back. And look at that. 2 Kriegs.
2 Kriegs on the CT side, an AUG and an AWP. It's going to go down to the wire in this map. It's already round 27, ladies and gents, and this time it's the T-side economy that's slightly pressured. Their utility, it's what's lacking in this instance, and if both sides lose this round, their economy is just in an absolute mess for the next one. It really doesn't get closer to a game-deciding round than this particular instance. Whoever loses this, their opponent's going to be on 14 rounds and have a way better buy than they are in the next one. So it's really about converting this round. This is the important one to have impact in at the moment. And low IQ, once again, they're just going to hold passively at the start and try and bait out and pray that some of these CTs, they just get too twitchy, walk into their crosshairs and give a kill away for free, because that is the advantage they need in this round.
And to be fair, Quiff Peak have been aggressive on their CT side to a fault at points as well. They've tended to try and find those opening picks and perhaps over-aggress in areas of the map where they don't really need to, but now they're learning from their lessons. They're holding back and they're waiting for these crossfires to establish themselves, waiting for T-sided players just to walk into their crosshairs, which is all you have to do. There's plenty of utility coming into this round, far more than we saw in the previous and the CT side. Looking to go for a lockout here and really reset the economy of low IQ. Currently just 2 players towards that A bomb site, which does look like it will be low IQ's final attempt. They've got 3 players queued up for this early bracket take. Worse Than Me in the apartments to try and provide support as well. It's going to be on to Hasnoodle. He has the Krieg, but he's got a huge job to do. Finds a couple of early tags, but now he's going to be overwhelmed by Twirl, who finds the headshot. And now look at Relic desperately trying to fall back into the site, waiting for the rotation, but it's all too little too late. It's Relic taken out. Twirl with his second of the round, and Bolton desperate to get anything he can with the AWP, but that round is done, and look, they know how frail the economy is. It's gonna be low IQ getting round number 14 on the T side. So much damage done with the nades, but they're gonna keep 5 players up as well.
Yeah, this is, again, it's really going to go down to the wire. I keep thinking it can't get any closer than this, surely. But now Staffs are saving 3 weapons forward, which means that it's going to be the force buy around whatever they can get in the next round is what's going to be bought up. That's for sure. They are going to be contesting to try and deny low IQ the map point here on their map pick here. And I mean, that's the real advantage here from Staffs, is if they can win this map, because I guarantee you that teams who are drilling on maps like Inferno and Overpass and things like that aren't necessarily going to be drilling directly on Vertigo, especially at this level, I think. And it's such a powerful map pick to bring forward from Staffs that if the University of Western England, low IQ, they're not expecting it, it could be a complete blowout from them on the next one. So it's the case for Staffs here of if they want to get things done 2-0, it's important, obviously, that they have to take this first map here. But when we think about going on to Overpass and how tense a situation that was in the last instance, you're really thinking that Staffs are going to want to try and take this in the first 2 maps, because Overpass, I mean, their first half was so poor against Oxford Brooks Vipers, it seemed like a miracle comeback from them on the CT side.
You do wonder how many times they can rely on miracle comebacks, don't you? As they do just ship that top banana control the way of low IQ. And everybody just takes a breath, takes a pause. The utility starts to run low on that CT side as it's slowly but surely bled out by low IQ. This time, they're more than happy to sit back. And again, not much aggression in this round from the CT side. They will know how vital this one is to their chances as Relic drops the smoke. And timing becomes everything at this point. A minute left on the clock. Low IQ with all the map control in the world. The only real area they can hope for is bracket, but they've got top banana. They've got lockout on that B bomb site. The rotations will be very, very slow no matter which bomb site they look to hit. Everything Looks like it's going the way of low IQ here as Magic's going to try and burst out of that boiler with flashes, and the timing from Relic, he just falls off of it with the worst possible timing in the world. Magic gets free bracket control. Now the T-side really do have the entire map at their fingertips as the banana execute looks to be lined up, and it's going to keep, look at the rotation. Ewan making his way towards the A-bomb site is going to leave Bolton completely alone. Half HP in an AWP to hold off against 3 T-sided players. The smoke, he's going to be found straight through it. Eric Kante with the headshot, and this round is going from bad to worse for Quiff Peak. That's a free bomb plant. It's 5-on-4, and Ewan is the only player anywhere near the site to even think about a retake, but I don't think he's interested at all. Shaking his head. They're going for the 4-man save. Quiff Peak, they are playing for overtime.
They'd have to win 2 rounds in a row to force it. And this is twice now. This is 2 rounds back to back where the staff side, they've gone for a gamble stack in a bomb site, and it's just been the wrong one. Low IQ have gotten enough information to realize in both instances that they can attack the site with less players defending it. It was A in the last instance and B in this one. And again, that's why they're called gamble stacks, right? Because it fundamentally is. If you lose that one player that you've got committing to defend the other bomb site, he can't get any frags. As we're seeing in this instance, your chances of retaking are near impossible. Magic wants to remove as many weapons as he can before the next round. He might even find Ewan. Just about can't land a headshot at the end, though. Staffs now, their hopes of any more competitivity in Inferno, they rely on this map. It's do or die moments. No more mistakes can be made from them in this map if they want to force overtime. It's quite simply that is the case in the round, and they'd have to force it with 3 FAMASs on the board. But thankfully, they got a full complement of utility.
Some nades at the very least as they make their way down Banana early on, and Crit is taking a fair chunk of damage, down to 60 HP. Pop Flash blooms beautifully, but he's not quite able to capitalize as he takes that top Banana control. And again, Quiff Peak, they don't look like they have a response. As soon as that top Banana early control is lost, they just look a little bit isolated. And Kawhi, oh, he is going to get the benefit of the doubt there, spamming away. He's able to find Crit as 12, just upgrades himself onto the Krieg, and perhaps that is the catalyst for Quiff Peak. Perhaps that early man advantage could be what they need, as low IQ, they look like they're giving up on B entirely, and this time, could they make that misread? They're heading towards the A-bomb site as it stands, with Magic and Worse Than Me having control of the apartments, and they are going to head into the more populated bomb site, but don't forget, there's still 2 FAMASs up, and there's so much utility to come out for the T-side as the execute does start to pan out. Relic in the apartments with a huge job to do here. He has to cut Worse Than Me out of it. He's got the FAMAS in hand, and he's got a beautiful angle to shut things down. Has Noodle in support as the HE goes towards bracket. That's good damage onto Eric Kante as well, but can these FAMASs hold strong? They've struggled for Quiff Peak as the execute is just being lined up here. No messing about. 12 finds the pick, and now it's onto Ewan, and the FAMAS is in support. The spray will find one. He's staying alive on the site. He's got the second, but nothing more. Has Noodle is there to bail him out. Another huge play. The FAMAS finds 2, and Quiff Peak, they're 1 round away from overtime, but they are going to be coming up against one hell of a bye.
If you're thinking about a recipe here for a CT round victory, you know, like old grandma's age-old family recipe for CT round victory brownies, it seems like the secret ingredient here is a triple kill from Hasnoodle. Let's try and stretch that analogy as far as we can. But yeah, when he turns up and has a 3K in rounds, it seems like they're virtually guaranteed to win them. Aside from the one where obviously he doesn't have a kit in that instance, and so there's not enough time available for him to defuse the bomb. It looked like he'd nearly win, but I mean, is it too much to ask for? Is it too much to ask for one player? Okay, just get a triple kill in this round and try and carry us through to overtime, because it feels like that's what's got to happen here. Huge individual plays from both of these guys. Hasnoodle, all he has to do is get 1 kill in this round. He'll have a 30 bomb in regulation time at this, particular instance in the game. And it really is like this core 3 of fraggers of Hasnoodle, Ewan, and Kawhi leading the way from staffs and seemingly doing all of the work at the moment. So it feels like one of those 3 players at least is going to have to pop off in this round if we're looking at overtime.
They know how important this is. I think if it goes to 3, we could see Quiff Peak really struggling, but they desperately want Inferno. We've seen it from the individuals who are showing up in such a big way. Again, low IQ, they get that early banana control relatively easily. Kawhi just playing with fire with that Krieg, trying to find any kind of advantage for his team. for the time being, nobody's really spotted much of anything. The bomb left all the way back in spawn by the low IQ lads as they look to bail themselves out, find that mystical 16th round to take victory on their map pick and force the issue on Vertigo. Eric Kante takes the bracket control, a little bit of nade damage chips away at him as crit also brought down to 57. There's good damage across the board, but low IQ, they've still got the utility to plan this execute, and Ewan and Kawhi, they're starting to run out of nades entirely.
Yeah, indeed. Utility becoming limited here for Quiff Peak, but time becoming limited for the T's right now. They haven't committed to a bomb site yet, as they do eventually look to go and pick up that bomb. Magic, he really does want that bracket control, but he's eventually going to fall back to his side, who look for the default banana execute, and there's two players here for Staffs that have got to go absolutely huge in the site. It's Bolton and Kawhi.
Nades go over the top. The Molotov does good damage onto Eric Kante. The AWP is here for Bolton, but he misses the initial shot. Now it's up to Kawhi on the Krieg. He gets one on the spray down. The smokes actually keep him relatively isolated from the action as the bomb looks to go down. And crit. Oh, he's playing with fire. 12 traded 1-for-1. Kawhi finds another, and Kawhi gets the second. We spoke about players getting triples, and it's on to Magic to really pull off the impossible. He doesn't quite find the trigger in time. And Quiff Peak, they take us to overtime, ladies and gents.
This is it, 15-15, folks. It is low IQ's map pick, and Staffs, they fought hard on this CT side, and they've basically fought back from an incredibly strong amount of momentum gain from low IQ. They strung a lot of rounds together on this T half, and it looked like they were really able, it looked like they'd be able to overtake the side and really try and close things out in regulation time. Thankfully, at least for us, in terms of wanting a competitive game to look at, the Staffs guys have had the mental fortitude to bring this back into overtime. And we know that it's their T side that looks slightly stronger. We know that they can be temperamental here. And again, now it's going to be just 4 rounds needed, I believe, for each side to claim victory. 19 being the magical number in the first instance, with 3 round halves, for those of you who aren't aware of how the overtime brackets do work in the tournament. But Staffs right now, I mean, both sides even. I was going to say Staffs is all to play for, but low IQ as well. It's 15-15. It's their map pick. We're not expecting low IQ to have that much prepared in the way of a Vertigo. So Inferno is a must-win situation for them at this point in time. Both sides, they just desperately need this overtime. We get to have a look at the buys now. Look at the. There's not an M4A4 on the Staff side in this whole buy.
It's an interesting call, isn't it, to pick up triple AUGs in your first round of OT1, but they'll be feeling confident. They've come back from a couple of wobbly middle rounds, middle sectors, and they've pulled it back at the very death. And of course, they get to start on the CT side, which is where they've had the momentum at the very end of regulation. Kriegs and 3 AK-47s brought out by the low IQ boys to do what damage they can, but with 16 KOTs as well, there's so much utility picked up. Interestingly, Bolton looking to keep it as slim as he can, give as many AWPs across to that CT side as possible, as again, top banana control's taken relatively freely. The T side, they're getting a lot of map for very little, as worse than me and Magic. They take the apartments as well.
Yeah, they've done it a lot earlier this time also, which is potentially the important factor. A minute 30 seconds left on the clock, and they have a lot of time to decide what they want to do and hopefully find some CT tracers. But that's the advantage of using this silenced weapon, is there are none. They won't be able to correctly identify what positions they're getting peeked out from here, and potentially just eliminated by the power of these defensive rifles. Low IQ, they keep things very slow. They're very keen to play around this play style of forcing a mistake from their opponents here, as they do look to get bracket control again, hopefully for free. Relic is going to be able to contest somewhat with a spray, but again, Staffs, they don't want to overcommit to these aggressive fights either. They're happy to make sure that they've got the men alive for the late round situation right now, as the bomb, it is recovered by low IQ. The players are positioned to go in towards A, and it looks like it's just going to be a little bit of a fake towards this B-bomb site.
Whatever nades they can throw towards B to keep the rotations honest, but the CT side, they're going to have the pressure applied on the A bomb site. Bolton out in no man's land, found by Twirl, and that's going to start to open up the re-rotate. Kawhi out on a limb. Relic bails him out through the smoke, but it's going to leave 2 players on this A bomb site. Hit a mini pit, the only 2 places they can hide, and Hasnoodle taking the early dig. Ewan, though, with a huge double kill. That starts to open it up, and Hasnoodle finds another. It's all on Eric Kante with 30 HP. He's got the first, but nothing more. Hasnoodle with a huge double kill from the pit with just 18 points of health.
He actually has a lot of impact there because he takes the initial duel against the players and misses the majority of his shots, actually plants them into the wall in front of him as opposed to the players. But what it does do is it draws all of low IQ's attention over towards the pit because they know they've got to deal with this player. And that then allows Ewan stood up on the balcony to get those couple of kills virtually unchecked because they're trying to rush forward and deal with Hasnoodle in the pit. They're not focused on him. He can pick up the 2 and then Has can just peek up and convert the next couple to a successful site defense. Now, because of the 16k overtimes, basically, you're just going to see full buys in every round. And, you know, you rarely ever see economies get stretched out in this situation unless they're going for double AWP setups in every instance and then losing them. Now, Staff's won the first round, obviously, so they're pretty much not going to have to worry about their CT economy for the rest of the half. They could be able to bring double AWP forwards if they want to at any point in time. So, again, Staff's doing that early utility damage. You're right in that they're giving away map control relatively for free, but they are landing the chip damage with those grenades, which unlocks the headshot potential from their CT rifles.
At least finding something as Ewan starts to mix things up. I think it's the first time we've seen Quiff Peak put a player up on top of the hut, starting to just make things as awkward as possible for their opponents, as again, low IQ going for the same strat as the previous, dumping utility towards B, as now the execute heads towards A, double smoke towards mid, a slight mistake from the CT side, but could that be the deciding factor? Hasnoodle desperate to get any kind of a peak he can, worse than me, taking a lot of nade damage in the apartments, but this is a full commit here from low IQ. They are not messing around whatsoever. The Molotov goes deep for the CT man, and that allows worse than me to take map control. Hasnoodle again with a huge job to do as he has short control. Hot flashed in, but Magic punishes brutally, and again, it's going to be the execute towards the A bomb site. Relic finds the early opening, taking the attention away from Ewan. The headshot comes in, the crossfires are established, the sprays are all too good. Ewan's got 3 from the pit, and now Magic, he's got to handle a 2-on-1. The bomb at least can get planted with a little bit of time left on the clock, but actually, he's going to make his way back into the apartments to grab a little bit more utility before he looks to get that bomb down. Kawhi spotted out the Molotov, bounces onto the box, does a lot of damage. Magic goes down to 39. They know roughly where he is, but they've still got to clear this site out. They've spotted him. They find the frag as well. Bolton on the P250, and Quiff Peak, they're 2 rounds away from victory here on Inferno.
Yeah, indeed. One more round needed on this half to make it the clean sweep from the CT side, and we saw just how explosive their executes can be on the T side as well. It seemed like a little bit of a mixed bag in the rounds, but when they did have those guns available, they were able to convert them into successful executes.
Yeah, I mean, they've done a really good job of just holding on. It was a little bit rough around the edges at times for the CT side in regulation, but they're really coming back into it here. And as the utility is dumped down early on, again, they're finding that chip damage to open things up, which just makes the M4s and the Orgs that little bit more viable in the mid-round. And we've seen it consistently. Quiff Peak, they're 2 rounds away from victory here. And as you've said, the Vertigo prep probably isn't going to be there for the T side as they do get that bracket control. Again, Magic takes an early chip. And this T side, they've got the layout for an execute. It looks like, again, they want to put the pressure towards this A bomb site. They think they've identified a weakness, but for the time being, Quiff, they've held strong, and it's Relic first one in the crossfires as Kante and Twel. This is all about the timing. Pop flash comes through, and Twel looks to lob some utility of his own. Kante and Twel, they're just playing with each other at the moment. The Molotov to buy even more time for the CT side, and the smoke to follow from Relic just puts out the utility, and actually, the T-side bail. They've got that bracket control. They've baited out the utility, and now they're going to head back around towards that B-bomb site, put the pressure instead on Kawhi and Bolton. Bolton, interestingly, playing towards Dark with that AWP. Not a position we typically see Orcas liking to occupy, but he's found himself an early opening. He's got the Kalat as well. Crit goes down. Bolton goes wandering, and he will be punished by Eric Kante at the very least, but 4 on 3, and Bolton could have just bailed his team straight out of this one. Kawhi gets aggressive, finds 1, and good damage onto Twirl as well. It's just buying time. The rotation through Speedway a little bit too slow from Magic, and it's left Twirl very isolated indeed as Ewan and Hasnoodle, they've got banana control, and the double peak looks to come through. They're looking for the timing. Ewan swings wide, finds the headshot, and it's all on Magic. He has to execute the player in construction, but that's bombed down. 13 seconds left on the clock. He knows he's got to go for it, and Ewan has punished it. It's a clean half from Quiff Peak. They are 1 round away from victory on Inferno.
Yeah, well, we talked about Hasnoodle and Ewan being the players to watch from Staffs. They've got 31 kills each, so a little bit of a correct prediction there on our part. But, I mean, you got to feel bad for Magic. He was left in a clutch situation in every single one of these overtime rounds, which is really rough. I think he was in 3 1 versus 2s to try and pick up rounds for his side. And the Staffs now, They only need one here on the T side of things. I think I just saw Magic accidentally purchase an MP5 and then pick up an M4 in lieu of that one, obviously. And interestingly, Bolton, he's AWPing on the T side here, which isn't something we saw from Low IQ at all. They did not bring any AWPs forward, at least in their overtime, on the T side of things whatsoever. So we'll have to see whether he can continue to find that individual impact at this point in time. Staffs, they just want to continue to get the map control. Crit, this position will be huge.
That was a beautiful opening pick. Hasnoodle able to find one, but the trade is immediately there. Crit, he won't mind that nade damage. He's found his team the man advantage, and it's funneling Quiff Peak back down mid, and instead towards Banana, where Eric Kante, he's waiting at top Banana, waiting towards CT with that AWP in hand. And look at the aggression coming in from Crit. He's taken Apartment's control. He's just wandering his way down, giving the call to Magic that he can rotate, and he can look to support on this B-bomb site. Again, it's going to be Quiff Peak relying on a ton of individual skill, but as Bolton's taken down on the shoulder peak, it gets very rough indeed. The Molotov put out by the smoke, but Kawhi and Ewan, they've got to try and find a way back into this site with very limited time left on the clock. 45 seconds. They can rotate, but Crit has got their backs covered, and Ewan, with no idea where to look, Crit from Vietnam will find the first, and Kawhi, he's left in a 1 versus 4 in a surely impossible situation. Low IQ, they've got the first. They'll need 2 more to give themselves any chance. They will have to force double OT on their own map as Kawhi, he knows he wants to try and take down a couple more players, taking out Crit. Of course, on 16k OTs, not really that important. He can always go for this one if he likes, but with 20 seconds left on the clock, he's really starting to run out of opportunity, although he looks like he wants to hightail it towards this A-bomb site. Magic, set up in the mini pit, is going to be a very difficult player to clear, especially with Worse Than Me rotating in, and all this noise, all this information. The dink will come through. The conversion is good. Low IQ, they need 2 more to force double OT.
Yeah, indeed, the high-pressure situation still very much in effect here. It's unfortunate for Bolton there on the initial peak because his barrel of his AWP actually just peek around the corner before he does. So about 3 seconds before he even actually does shoulder peek that angle, the AWPer has already known his position because of the barrel of that gun sticking out. And double AWP set up now from Low IQ. Hasnoodle is on a Mac 10, despite us being on 16k overtime. They're going quick in this B side.
They do not want to mess about, but the utility is doing so much damage, and Eric Kante just picks and helps himself to an early double. He's looking for more. He's got the triple. He's looking for even more. He's got the quad. Kawhi can only find 2 in response. They tried to up the pace, Quiff Peak, but it did not work out whatsoever.
Yeah, that's why you don't just go for an all-out B rush at this level. CT utility, in case anyone was wondering why we were making so much a point about it being so important when Staffs didn't have any, it's because it can be that effective when you do. It just completely shuts down those rushes, deals with everything, and now the pressure's on. Low IQ, they need this one to force double OT. Staffs, they need it to force the vertigo situation. And again, Magic right now with the AWP just holding out towards middle. Quiff, they are slowly getting Apartment's control, relatively for free this time. No one's actively contesting them at this moment, but 3 Kriegs up on the T side. No, well, actually 1 Krieg on 12 in the defense around this A bomb side as well. So could be a successful defense from them. Staffs, though, it's about finding the opening pick before they commit, because if they get shredded by utility again, they're in huge trouble.
It's all about the timing. 3 players towards the A-bomb site. Magic misses the opening shot. That starts to give bracket control away, but now Magic and Crit come into their own. A frag apiece, and this setup just looking like it's a little bit too good. 4, 5 frags. We are going to double OT, and it's a flawless round to bring them there from Low IQ.
Yeah, clean sweep CT sides in both instances for these teams. And it's forced the double overtime situation here. And now we're seeing the concept of momentum potentially be really in Low IQ's favor, because Staffs, obviously, they won the first 3, but they've just lost 3 in a row. If Low IQ can string 6 rounds total together, and they'll only need 1, and with that backing, that high level of momentum supporting them, potentially it could be easier for them to convert the second instance as well. And they do have to start on the more difficult T side, but surely, if they just get 1 round on this T side, they'll be filled with confidence, because no one could do that in the last instance, but Kawhi immediately taken down by the double nade.
Lovely nade stack to start things off, and Magic just the worst possible timing as he heads onto the angle that Hasnoodle then occupies. And Quiff Peak, once again, they find themselves with a man disadvantage early on, trying to work out a way to get back into this round as Crit, He's thinking about going through this smoke. He knows the players are held up by the CT Molotov and hopes perhaps there's half a gap there, but there won't be for the time being. Magic looks to rotate around. Crit straight through the smoke. 1, 2. Bolton dinked before he finds the frag as well. That is a huge individual play. And Low IQ, they've got everything in their favor now for Bolton and Ewan, perhaps salvaging a little bit of pride, a couple of frags just to make them feel that they can do this, because Low IQ, they had 3 opportunities to mess this one up and nothing went wrong. They were perfect as Bolton finally finds a frag, takes out Magic, and Ewan desperate to try and take some short control. He's been huge for Quiff-Peak, but this surely a task too many. And actually, 12 hasn't spotted him out yet. The timing is everything, but Ewan hasn't looked either. 12 will take the frag away, and Bolton, with 5 HP left and 35 seconds left on the clock, I don't think there's anything this AWPer can do except perhaps find an exit frag.
Yeah, that's a critical mistake there from you, and unfortunately not peeking the balcony for the player to be posted up into. And it's unfortunate because he checks everywhere else, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day. If you don't peek the one angle that the player's holding, you are going to fall foul to it. Bolton, he's considering going for this one, but Twirl will just deal with him on low HP as Low IQ pick up their 4th consecutive round and look to continue the success of their defense here at the moment. Double up setup brought forward yet again. We know it's super effective, and these last few Staff Seaside executes, they just seem like they really don't have the answers for what Low IQ are throwing out in terms of the defense. Crit gets aggressive through the smoke, admittedly. That's obviously not to be expected, but just getting 2 kills from that position is way more than enough impact than he needs to find there. And Staffs, they need to try and contest map control yet again. The AWPs are going to be forced off the close angles at least, but the utility, it looks to continue to rain a little bit more damage down this time. Bolton will only take 1 as opposed to having his teammate be completely removed from the round by them. Staffs, they look to gear up towards this A execute, not even considering B at the moment.
No messing about from the T side as they go through the smoke, and Magic forced off of the angle after a missed shot, but look at this from Crit. They're not going to clear him out. Magic finds a pick, and now Crit looks to swing. The timing could not be better. There's so many crosshairs, there's so many targets, and they just sweep them up. Low IQ, they are coming into this game more and more, and I think it really is worrying signs for Quiff-Peak.
Same position that Staffs used on the T side as well, I believe. So they just had those Deagles tucked in the corner, and somehow they still don't peek it. And now things get dire because this is a high pressure T round. This is where we're thinking we have to win this one because there's really very little margin for error when we switch over onto our CT side otherwise. And Low IQ, are they in control of their map pick finally? Has it taken nearly 38 rounds have been played in total, and it looks like finally the University of Western England are getting control, but Kawhi is just able to land a very nasty headshot there, and they're going quick off the back of this.
They're looking to go fast towards the B-bomb site. Utility might dissuade them for the time being, at the very least, as the AWPer makes his way back onto the site, taking a good amount of damage for his trouble as well as Quiff-Peak. Perhaps that's what they needed, that little bit of magic from Kawhi. Crit manages to equalize, taking down the A-Lurk, and that's going to surely funnel this bomb back towards the B-bomb site as Crit, he wants to get even more aggressive, and Ewan, no idea at all. He's looking to line up Utility. He's not going to be better. Oh, surely not! How has he found that headshot? Look at him, he has no idea. He's twitching. And with Relic holding top banana, he can counter this aggression. The spray's good for 1. Eric Kante at the very least trades us into the 2-on-2. But it's double AWP still up for the CT side. And as the smokes, the flashes rain over the top, what can Eric Kante do? He's rotating around, trying to get to construction. But that Molotov, that's going to keep him out of this. And Ewan should be able to get the bomb down. Oh, he's playing with fire. He's got 8 HP, but Kawhi's able to bail him out. And Magic in the last round of the half to try and secure the clean sweep. He's got an AK-47, he's got full utility, and Ewan is down to just 8 points of health, but as the smokes start to bloom, it's going to be very difficult to get back into this one. He's got it all to do as he makes his way around, thinks about construction, but instead will head through the smoke in CT, hope for a timing, he gets one, he looks for the second, but he can't quite find it. Ewan with 2 huge frags on such low HP to give his team something to believe in.
8 HP. It really only takes 1 bullet there from the retaking player to close out that round. But Staffs, they do pick up the T side overtime round, and they're the only team to do it so far. Now, Low IQ, they only need to find 2, I believe, of these next 3 rounds to try and claim victory. Meanwhile, Staff sides would need all 3 for victory and 2 to force triple overtime on the first map here of our grand finals. You can see why people normally hype up Inferno as the decider, because it does have these huge overtime potentials. 3 Orgs and an AWP yet again for Quiff Peak on the defense. They don't want any look at that M4A4 in this situation. Low IQ, they're all up banana though, and they look like they want to execute into the B bomb site.
They are not messing about this time. Typically low IQ, they've taken a lot of map control early on before planning their execute, but this time it's just straight up banana, and Bolton, he lies in waiting with the AWP. Kawhi there to back him up on the 4A1S, but for the time being, 3 CT players towards that A-bomb site, so the timing couldn't be better for low IQ. Now they peek wide. Bolton does manage to find the opening pick as the execute starts to come through. Kawhi dropping the Molotov close. He wants to go through the smoke. He's thinking about it, and he's got half an angle to work with. Half a timing. 12, though, reads it beautifully to find the refrag, and Bolton straight through the smoke. Found by 12. Worse than me gets aggressive for another, and it's a 4-on-2. Ewan with a huge job to do, just about cleans up the Speedway player, but he's got to wait. He's got to wait for the support to come in, and it's 3-on-2 as Magic just troubles a shot down deep into CT. Can't quite connect, but there's still so many opportunities for him to clean things up. Hasnoodle finds one more, but the trades are there, and it's 12 with a huge quad kill to take low IQ 1 round closer. 2 match points. Quiff Peak, they have to be perfect to force triple OT.
I mean, 12 did a near perfect job there. 4 kills to try and wrangle momentum back in his side's favour. Then he just won now. 1 T-side round, that's all it takes to force us to map 2, ladies and gents. And again, we've stressed this point time and time again. This is such an important map for the guys from the University of Western England to win. Certainly not expecting them to have any strats drilled on Vertigo, and it looks like a definite comfort pick from staff. So it's so important that low IQ can convert this round and make sure that they do win their own map pick here. And this is where, to be honest with you, you might want to see staff starting to get aggressive here. Go for those unorthodox plays right now. Don't do the same thing you've done every round, because obviously that's what your opponents are going to anticipate. It looks like another B execute is on the cards. And at this moment, there is a player rotating off the site.
And this could be the worst possible timing. At the very least, Kawhi's going to be able to make his way back in, but Bolton, he's got the smoke to play around. 12 taking a lot of damage, but it's still a free site. They're still going to be able to make their way in, and Bolton, he knows how dangerous that smoke can be. He's going to back out of things. It's going to be a 5-on-5 retake for this CT site. So much damage done by Bolton as he finds another tag, but all 5 players, they're still up and kicking, and they only have to find the headshots. Counter nades do good work onto Relic and Ewan, respectively, as now Ewan over the top, can't get anything done. 12 on 7 HP. Magic finds another, and low IQ, they are so close. Relic gets one at the very least, starts to make his team believe. There are so many tags, but the AWP of Magic is still up on the server, and Kawhi, he's walked right into the crosshair. Noodle can find nothing, and Magic takes down Relic. It will be low IQ taking their map pick, and we will be heading to Vertigo with the low IQ lads 1-0 up.
Yeah, it does eventually get done in double overtime, but congratulations to the guys from the University of Western England. They take their map pick ever so narrowly, however. Vertigo going to be our next battleground, and it's a valiant effort from staffs there on Inferno. They do put 19 rounds on the board, but unfortunately just losing out there in the last instance. Vertigo up next, their pick. We're expecting them to be very comfortable on it, which means we could really have a 3-game series on our hands here.
Oh, we could indeed. And as a result, we need to grab a very quick break, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back in 5 minutes. Map number 2, Vertigo, coming up. Don't go anywhere.
We watch the starlight, they shine bright as we hold on to this time. No one leaves cause we might not fight. Another night like this, another night like this. We might live, we might love, we might know, but mostly we grow. Another night like this, another night like this. We might live, we might love, we don't know, mostly we grow, mostly we grow. We might live, we might love, we don't know, but mostly we grow, mostly we grow. Bury my body in the ground and just sleep, and just sleep like you do. 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 A star last night and thought of you, but it must have been a dream, 'cause you're not here. I've never been one to believe in fairy tales or fantasy, but perhaps it's time for a change of mind.
Welcome back, and after an absolutely insane map 1, Low IQ find themselves with 1-0 lead and perhaps a very unique opportunity heading into Vertigo, of course, which is a map that can go either way pretty much all the time.
Yeah, it's a map that can go either way pretty much all the time, unless you're incredibly drilled on it and it's something that you've deliberately pocket-picked in the grand final, which is exactly the case here for the side of Quiff Peak. I know for a fact that they drill on this map all the time. This is one of the ones that they definitely practice on, and they want to be a stable part of their map pool. And to be honest with you, I think from the low IQ point of view, it's something that they would definitely rather isn't in this series. So the last couple of times Quiff Peak played on this one, I know it's pretty exciting. It's been, well, I say pretty exciting. It's been pretty comfortable from them. They've been rather dominant here. And if we look slightly ahead to Overpass up next, these two sides have played against each other on Overpass before. And I do believe that the scoreline in that instance was 16-14. So if Staff can get us there, we'll be up for a screamer of a third map.
It really does look like everything is set to be an absolutely huge best-of-3 series, but I'm sure Low IQ will at the very least be trying to cause as much havoc as they can here. They will want to take this 2-0. They will be carrying that momentum from map 1 through. They've just beaten Quiff Peak in triple OT, and I think you cannot underestimate how much of a boost that gives the team.
I think it was double OT, but absolutely still, the point still remains.
Wasn't
Yeah, it's all right. It does give you a huge boost, especially when you understand how close it was as a series overall, and then the fact that staffs were able to regain the momentum just towards the end and actually force overtime. And that's when it gets really difficult for the side of low IQ, because if you allow somebody to come back into a game and defeat you on your map pick, that's the tilt-worthy situation. Now, thankfully, they were able to avoid it. They've obviously brought us here on to map 2 with the 1-0 advantage, but unless they've been, you know, catching everybody off guard and doing something that nobody's expected by drilling Vertigo over and over again, they're going to have a rough time here by the looks of things.
I believe in miracles. I think it goes, and I think low IQ will as well. I think they can't do anything but take confidence from how that previous map went. It doesn't matter that it's Vertigo. Vertigo is a map about aim, and as a team, they have shown very good aim throughout that first map. They weren't missing many shots. They weren't missing many frags, and as they head into the pistol, it's a chance to make a statement. 2 smokes and 2 Molotovs. Are we seeing perhaps an idea of a plan coming out from low IQ?
The plan being put flames at our opponent's feet, and then they can't stand still and shoot at us. I think that is the that's the thought process when you pick up those weapons. But it does look like they are going over towards the A ramp early, and this is somewhere that I do believe the staff side have done most of their drilling. So we'll have to see if they can hold the defense out here.
Looking for a little bit of a timing through the smoke, Kawhi, but for the time being, the A-bomb site will be the final destination, and worse than me, able to pick up an early opening, picks up the second for his team as well as he looks to cause even more havoc. Finally, a little bit of CT damage as Ewan on the fast flank looks to take somebody down, but worse than me's got a third before he's taken out, and Relic and Bolton with it all to do. They're being gunned down alive, and Bolton, with just 4 HP left, has got to try and get back into the site, and look at Magic. He's picked up the CT Molotov. He is in the perfect position here. Bolton cannot afford to make any mistake. Misses the initial shot, but not yet punished as he makes his way back towards the site. He's got to tap that bomb at some point. He's got to find a frag at some point as Magic peeks wide and a quick headshot. Low IQ, that utility comes out perfectly, and they get themselves the T-sided pistol.
Yeah, an important one for them, especially on their opponent's map pick. They're hoping that they can carry forward the momentum from the victory in the last map, and also just try and use it to mentally wear these staff's guys down at this point in time, right? It's a grueling defeat, all things considered. 22-19 after they did come back. They did get the 3 clean sweep defense on the CT side initially. It looked like staffs would be able to take the overtime, but the fact that that doesn't go their way, it's a mentally exhausting defeat. And if low IQ get off to a strong start here, they'll be hoping to tilt their opponents as they look to creep up towards A again, and Crit, and he finds the shot there, but it's just going to have to be content with the damage for now.
Relic trying to get aggressive towards the opposite bomb site, trying to find some damage, but Ewan taken out by Eric Kante will make things awkward, and Magic just starting to clean up. There's a couple more upgraded pistols, make that just the one remaining as Relic, the last on the server with the CZ, and NUEL, doesn't even matter, he's got a USBS and he's still going to find at least 1 frag, and you can see Eric Kante desperate to make sure that Krieg doesn't fall into the wrong hands. He's going to get aggressive. Relic, long range with the CZ, not an advantageous fight at all, and as Twirl takes down his teammate, it's all about how much more damage he can find, but Eric Kante knows exactly where to look and will just clean things up. The Krieg being recovered is an important thing to note as well, as low IQ, they take that round relatively cleanly.
Yeah, clean eco there from Quiff Peak. Obviously, the good idea in the second round instance, but again, because of these economy changes, the reality is that if you're a CT player, you have just been wrecked by how the money works, unfortunately. And you can just tell the fact that you hard eco second round after getting a couple of kills on the opening pistol, and this is what they can bring forward at this point in time. You know, the only utility remaining is a smoke and 2 flashbangs. The 4 M4s are up, and Hasnudor, he wants to get very aggressive here. He's got the sound cue, actually, onto worse than me, I believe. So be aware of the positioning at least. But an A hit looks to be on the cards from the University of Western England.
A lot of wallbang damage done onto Crit leaves him very vulnerable indeed, and it's not quite being translated by the low IQ boys through the wood. As Crit, perhaps just hoping that headshot will come through on the Krieg to give him something to work with. Jump peeking the angle. Ewan spotted out, but he's got to be so cautious here. He knows it as well. He's got so little HP to work with. Bolton will be able to take him out to open things up. Magic immediately trades towards the rat run to find the pick onto Kawhi, he's had a horrid time there in the start of this map, and you can see Relic getting aggressive towards the B-bomb site, gives some information to his teammates. Worse than me, I don't think he's quite aware this angle even exists. You're starting to see Quiff Peak's prep on this map with the bomb. Still deep in spawn. Neither team committing to anything just yet, but look at that. Worse than me. Spots out the player, able to take him out as well, only losing half his health in the process. That causes the rotation, and Eric Kante takes out the mid player. There's one man alive, and it's all on Bolton. He's got the first, but Magic has taken down the A support. The bomb still all the way in spawn with 30 seconds left, but they're just going to gun their man down. And Low IQ, they take the first rifle round. This is worrying signs, I think, for Quiff Peak.
I think that maybe there might have been some sneaky little preparation done on Vertigo here. I think that the Low IQ guys might be well aware that, you know, this is a map that's in their opponent's pool right now. And let's not forget that it's also a map in their opponent's pool that has been broadcasted. So there are going to be demos available for the Low IQ guys to watch here of staffs on Vertigo. It's aggressive again, just takes Bolton out straight away. Clinical headshot. Kawhi tries to reply, but worse than me is the guy who gets the second frag elsewhere on the map. He continues to enter into B in this eco round. Not going well for Quiff Peak right now.
Kawhi not going to get anything done at all. Ewan is left all alone, and it's a clean sweep by Low IQ. I think you might be right about the prep here. 5 players kept alive, and look at that T-side economy. It is starting to look very worrying indeed for the CTs.
I mean, yeah, this is the full gun round. This is going to be indicative of how strong Low IQ's T-side is really going to be here. This is arguably as full a gun round as Quiff Peak are going to get, at least for a while. This is their traditional buy. They like the AUGs. They like the AWP and keeping the A1S there on it to Kawhi. If they lose this one, they're going to struggle, basically. Bolton's found the opening frag, though. That's important. That means that they have the man advantage to work with going forward in the round. Utility, still somewhat decent from them as Low IQ. They want to continue to take the A ramp at this point in time, but Staffs, they can find another kill here and win this round. They want to start getting a foothold in the map there.
Oh, Kawhi straight through the wood, manages to do just that, taking out Twirl and bringing us into the 5-on-3, and Crit, he's playing with fire as well. The CT's starting to get their X-ray on and starting to find those wall bangs as Crit just looks to make his way up Ivy, perhaps find some kind of damage. He might catch Ewan off guard, but the spray just isn't quite there. And for Eric Kante and worse than me, the economy is okay at this point. The T-side will have a buy into the next round, so this is about damage. How expensive do you make this for the CT forces? Currently sitting at a 5-on-2. They've got to find at least a couple of frags to try and make this one viable. As worse than me. He's going to make his way up towards IVU and getting aggressive with the AUG. Finds the shot, finds the frag. Of course he does. He's out in the open and he's going to find another. Quiff Peak. That is exactly the response we needed to see from them on the CT side.
Yeah, it's an important gun round for them to win, and they are able to convert it. Now, Low IQ, they've got quite a lot of money to work with here. The 4 rounds that they won, they did so with quite a few players left alive in every instance. So a healthy little bit of cash to fall back on. Even potentially in the next one, Eric Kante and Magic can consider dropping if they do want to go for the full buy. So up to Staffs again. It's about survival here, but it's about survival with a lot of players up and alive, because if they win this round but with 4 players down, it's going to be tough in the next. Thankfully, they've started it perfectly.
Twirl at least able to find the refrag onto the AWPer and start to make it a little bit expensive towards the A-bomb side, but he really is out on the limb here with it all to do. He finds the second on the adjustment. Kawhi, there's a low HP player waiting for him on the ramp, and he will be able to find the refrag, will find his team the man advantage once more, but it's a little more difficult for them, to say the least. Low IQ, they need to try and recover that bomb, and you can see they're aware of it. They're aware of all the flanks that are available on a map like Vertigo, but interestingly, B-bomb site has been left very open indeed. As worse than me should be able to call this completely freely, that B-bomb site is open for business. Relic, really with a huge job to do. He's got to make his way towards the generators, and he's got to find that frag. Does exactly what is required of him, and as Eric Kante tries to make his way up towards this bomb site, he is going to be swarmed from all possible angles. Has Noodle up on the headshot, can't quite find the spray. Eric Kante punishes, and this is where the economy of the CT side really starts to buckle with just 4 HP. If he can get the bomb down here, Eric Kante, that would be a huge economic boost for his teammates, but instead, he looks to fake it out, looks to cause more damage. Relic out in no man's land will finally clean things up, and Quiff Peak, they keep a couple of players alive. They start to build their own economy on the CT side.
Yeah, 3 guys do have to rebuy up into this one, which means their economy going to be partial empty at least. And the full utility reinvestment even does still have to come out from the majority of these CTs, and AWP even dropped by Kawhi for Bolton, I believe. So their economy still somewhat stretched in this instance. If Low IQ can continue to find damage and even the round, they'd be in a great spot. They're rushing out towards mid right now. Ewan on point to clean up though.
Finds a lovely double kill to open things up, and there's Bolton with that AWP, just causing chaos, finding picks, and A 4-on-2 is not how low IQ would have envisioned that mid-tech to go. Eric Kante is going to get boosted up on the boxes to try and give him a unique angle to work with. But again, the CT side, they can just fall off at this point, and with so many angles to hold on a map like Vertigo, if you know your angles, you're going to find your frags. Hasnoodle adjusts well and leaves just Magic remaining on the server, and this is all the timing. Doesn't spot Bolton out. Quiff Peak, they've kept 4 players alive this time. Their economy is really starting to look like it's going to be an intimidating prospect.
Yeah, Quiff Peak waking up now on Vertigo, starting to see a little bit of that preparation that we were talking so much about before this map. It's going to be a partial eco situation here from low IQ. They're not going to invest into any rifles at all. Magic on Worse Than Me with the armor pickups and limited utility available to work with. Hasnoodle gets aggressive towards ramp, taking out crit. Over towards B, he gets aggressive and takes crit down in the early instance, and that's going to leave low IQ reeling here. I mean, the best case scenario they can hope for here is a bomb plant, a couple of nice headshot kills with the Deagles, maybe even a recovered rifle, but should be staffs around here.
Magic with a very quick headshot and an AK-47 to follow, as Worse Than Me gets a Deagle passed along to ground to him. A lovely little bit of team play there, and you can see Magic causing a lot of havoc up on that A-bomb site. He's managed to get himself into an advanced position. Bolton not quite able to clear him out just yet. The utility he's gathered is going to be dumped on this A-bomb site to try and allow the bomb plant. Bolton, though, up on the high ground all the time. He couldn't be worse. Magic has got himself another, and Ewan, he's hidden on the bomb site for so long, but Eric Kante finds the 1-for-1, and somehow low IQ find themselves with a man advantage. It's all on the timing. Magic has no idea where to look. The double spray down is good from Relic. And Eric Kante, what have you got for us in the 2-on-1? He can't find the headshot. For a moment, you believe. The damage is good nonetheless. And low IQ, I think they can take a lot from how well that round went.
Yeah, considering how little they invested there, 3 kills and the bomb plant on the A site, very good. And if Relic doesn't get aggressive through that smoke, I mean, that round could quite comfortably have been in low IQ's favor, because then they're allowed to reposition and hold that post-plant situation in the 3 versus 2. But what the bomb plant has done is access more utility and more money for low IQ in the round. Magic is going to bring an ult forward here on the T side. And now we're seeing more traditional rifles be utilized by Quiff Peak, but they don't really have the money to reinvest. That's a very nice quick shot from Bolton. Seems like every time he gets aggressive towards the ramp and has a go of something, and fair play to him, because it's been working out in the majority of cases.
He's looking for more as well as he gets aggressive, trying to find that opening pick. Worse Than Me has finally found something towards the B-bomb site. Hasnoodle, perhaps guilty of getting just a little bit too keen on the peaks, and it's going to allow low IQ to bail out of this one in a relatively okay position. Worse Than Me still holding for the aggression down B. Eric Kante with control of middle, and as of yet, no CT presence rotating to stop him. Relic just starting to think about the boost up now as Kawhi gets aggressive down the ramp. That will give the information, that will give the call as Ewan and Relic look to set themselves up a nasty little crossfire here for the ramp hit that's going to come in. Low IQ dumping utility on the bomb site, but can they find the shots they need? Relic gets aggressive, that's a freebie, and now the man advantage is re-established. There's so many CT players waiting for these shots to come through. The flashes are good. Bolton and Ewan find one apiece, and it is a smooth clean up by Quiff Peak. I think we're starting to see how well drilled they are on this map.
That is a heroic flashbang from Ewan there. That really just shuts down the offensive potential from low IQ. They can't aggress into anyone. They're completely blind, and ultimately it does allow his teammate to get the kill. That's some very well-timed utility. And again, you're absolutely right. That is one of the symptoms of practice, basically. Having a utility timings be that perfect comes from a result of just sitting in that server and practicing time and time again your utility placements. Look at that HE damage. It absolutely slaughters some players, deals lots of damage. 12 finds 1 shot, and it looks like he might take the site.
He's found a second as well, but the bomb's been dropped in the process, and Bolton trying desperately to hold this one down. Will have to at least concede. The plant gets too aggressive. Magic on the Mac-10 finally finds some kind of a frag, and the afterplant positions on this map make it so difficult for the CTs to get anywhere. Magic out in the open finds the headshot, traded by Hasnoodle, but it's still the 2-on-1, and he's got so many frags yet to find. Molotov goes towards the sandbags. The double peak could be lined up, but Hasnoodle, he's going to find the shot, baiting Twirl into this one in the 1-on-1. He taps the bomb. He's looking for the peak to come out, but Twirl, he has no idea. Hasnoodle, he doesn't know this angle even exists. He's desperate to find something, but Twirl, oh, he's playing the timing so perfectly. The spray will be good, and low IQ, they find themselves a 5th. They are not done just yet as they draw level.
It was very close then. I saw the model of Hasnoodle turn around. I saw that barrel start facing the right way, and for a moment I thought we could be on for a little bit of another missed spray down. But low IQ, they do convert. They tied up at 5-5, and they stretch Quiff's economy here, because they've gone for the full investment into the round, but look at the money available. Only Relic really can buy up Bolton again on this aggro. That is nothing. There's like an elbow on the screen, and he's still able to find that shot and convert the man advantage. As low IQ, they've got to go aggressive elsewhere to try and convert the kills here.
And Kawhi is going to catch Crit off towards the A ramp as well. This is a perfect start again for Quiff Peak. I think we're starting to see why they picked this map. Bolton is just absolutely killing it on the AWP. The timing from Eric Kante couldn't be worse. He had a free frag onto Hasnoodle there, but instead turns his head away from the flashbang and leaves his team with the two-man disadvantage. And how do they recover this one with 2 AKs and a creep? No real map control to speak of. They're going to try and make their way towards the B bomb site. Magic just creeping his way in. Relic still playing around those boxes on the left-hand side. It's going to be all about the timing here. And Magic with no idea at all. He's going to be caught out. Just a kneecap peeking wide, and it will be Quiff Peak into the 5-on-2. And I think there's a realistic argument for the save here as Eric Kante and Worsley try and make their way towards B, try and cause some havoc. Lovely headshot from Kante, but he's been brought down to 57 in the process. And look at the CT swarm. Ewan up on the headshot angle, looks for the spam around, finds a good tag, and now Hasnoodle on the spray, finds another. Last man alive is Kante. He's got himself a second. He can't quite find the third. Kawhi to take him down. Quiff Peak, they re-establish their lead at 6-5.
Yeah, on the CT side as well. Vertigo, slightly CT-sided map, but really not majorly. It's one of those ones where much more balanced, not like a nuke or something like that, which is obviously quite heavily favoured for the CTs. And we got another timeout on our hands. Wolfie, I know you're a fan of university players actually utilising their timeouts. Low IQ are going to call it, and they have made this first half pretty competitive for themselves. They put 5 rounds on the board, and they're really only in 1 round away from being all tied up here. I'm looking at a lot of Mac 10s coming out now in the buy for low IQ, which indicates to me a very high-paced round, but it's important that they don't let their economy get too out of control, which is why you're seeing that little buffer get left in the bank, because we are entering the latter stages of the half, and they're going to want as many buys as possible to bring forward for the remainder of this. And again, they're not that far away from forcing the Staffs guys onto an eco here. If they can string 2 in a row, they're going to guarantee at least 1 eco in the next 3 rounds.
Fast play towards mid, forces Ewan back off the angle. He takes a dink through the wall for his trouble as well. And now the smoke starts to come in. They're going to try and swarm this B bomb site. Relic, though, up on the balk, grabs himself a nice double kill. A dink onto 12 to follow, and this is falling apart. Kante switches it out to the P250, but his teammates taking him down. Oh no, Magic. There's so little health remaining on this T side. They're desperate to get a bomb plant, but Ewan punishes the shoulder peak, and Kawhi reads the play beautifully to clean things up. It's not how they would have envisioned the round going, but they found a couple of frags, and it should allow them to buy into this one.
Yeah, indeed. They are going to look for the full buy up here, and Staffs with 3 players left alive, most of them preserving their utility as well, means that a healthy buy is able to be brought forward in this round, as they really do look to start to build some momentum for themselves. They won 7 out of the last 8 rounds, Staffs have, on this CT side, and if they can even win the next 2, they'll be in a great position heading forward into the second half then, because we do know that as the more drilled side, it's really going to show more on those T side executes. 12 this time finds Bolton getting aggressive onto ramp, and the man advantage goes the way of the University of Western England in this first instance, as they want to pressure B as well.
Relic has to be very cautious here. He spots out Magic, can't quite connect with the initial headshot as he falls back, and with the man advantage, low IQ, you can see them putting pressure towards multiple areas in this map. They've got the mid control to work with. They're going to work their way towards B as well. As the CTs rotate in, Relic and Hasnoodle with a huge job to do. Gap in the smoke will be punished by the second CT smoke, so Relic not going to be able to spot anything at all as the bomb slowly makes its way to join. Crit trying to make something happen from Ivy, but Kawhi, look at this angle. There's about 2 pixels that he can see there, but he's confident in his abilities as Eric Kante takes down Ewan, and that is a CT player holding the angle. That's going to make things very awkward for Kawhi. He's got to rotate into so many positions at once. With Eric Kante wedged into the corner, he's going to find yet another Hasnoodle, not allowed to rotate, and Kawhi almost looks the wrong way. Crit able to trade him out at the very least, and Relic, there's nothing he can do, surely. It's 1-on-4. And the CT economy, there's an argument to save. Yet again, they've got no cash. He's going to try and make his way towards where the forklift used to be. But I think it's just exit frags at this point.
Might even be worth calling a timeout here on the CT side, because I'm still not sure what buy decision they're going to go for in the next round here. Their economy's going to be stretched. Kawhi and Bolton are going to be able to fully buy up, and if Relic saves his M4, he can bring it forward. But the issue, he won't even be able to do so. And that's a really rough frag to concede now. Now, if you save that rifle forward, there's the argument that you go for the buy in this round because they have the 3-weapon potential guaranteed. But next round is the last round of the half. That's what makes this difficult. And they are actually just going to go for the eco in this one. They know that they need as much as possible in that final round of the half. So they're just going to take the pistols forward. Low IQ with a decent chance of tying it up at 7-7. And this is already much closer than I personally had anticipated Vertigo to be.
This is looking like a comprehensive performance from Low IQ on the T side so far. They haven't made many mistakes. They've brought themselves into this game and they've read that mid stack very efficiently indeed. Kawhi, though, finds a headshot onto Crit, and that's going to allow time to rotate in. Look at the pistols. They are swarming. Magic able to find one at the very least, but there are so many Deagles awaiting him on this bomb site. Grabs the second. Worse than me. Just starts to steady the ship. For Bolton and Kawhi, they're both towards A, and the bomb, it's escaping very rapidly indeed. Magic going to spot out and take the shot as the cleanup crew come in, and Low IQ losing just the one man. That could have been so much worse.
Yeah, indeed. Now, it's down to the wire again. Let's just remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that on Inferno, both halves ended 8-7 in one side's favour, and this half is already guaranteed to end 8-7 to somebody. It really does not get closer than this at this particular point in time. Just the two FAMASs brought forward for quickly instead of the actual rifles, but they converted the 2 opening kills. That's hugely important. The aggression pays off, and now it's Low IQ who have to deal with a 3v5 situation in this round. Crit tries to get aggressive, but on just 16 HP, going to struggle to find much more impact as the bomb hasn't even followed up. Thankfully, he can convert a kill, though.
Finds another. Kawhi, his position is unknown on the bomb site, so he will be able to clean things up and bring the man advantage back into the 4-on-2. Magic, though, he's not quite done yet with that AWP in hand. Has Noodle peeks in front of the molly and almost the adjustment, but not quite 12. That timing could not have been worse. Relic hasn't spotted him, though, so that starts to open up some opportunity. Perhaps that B bomb site looks a little bit vulnerable. 12 makes his way towards mid, and I think Relic still thinks he's on a long old flanking mission down towards the A bomb site as 12 meticulously clears his angles. This is a huge opportunity for him to show up as an individual. He's been huge for Low IQ in so many rounds as he clears all of these angles. And who can he catch on the rotation from the CT side? It's going to be Ewan looping all the way around him as Relic tries to clear towards mid, and nobody has any idea what's going on with 12. The utility will give him away, but the pop flash towards the B bomb site perhaps tempts him the opposite. He catches the first. Relic looked like he was thinking about the knife there, but he's not going to be gifted it. 12 has 2 more players to find. First up, it's Hasnoodle, but this is all on the timing of that ramp peak. He's not going to find the plant. He needs to get his gun out, and he knows it. He's being flanked from both sides. The peak towards upper is going to come through. Surely Ewan will clean things up. It was close, to say the least. But Quiff Peak, they will find the lead. 8-7 as we go into the half-time, but it could not be closer.
Yeah, Magic leading the way in terms of frags as the AWPer, and you can argue that that does actually bode quite well for Low IQ going into the second half, because AWPers in general tend to have more impact on the CT side. If he's having a particularly good game and he's on the particularly good gun, then he could be able to find a lot of impact here. We saw the T side take the pistol in the last instance, and again, it's vitally important for both sides to try and build some momentum in this half by claiming victory in the pistol, and it's nearly a completely different buy. It's just a smokes picked up in utility for Worse Than Me.
Fast play towards the B bomb site, called out very early on. Worse Than Me trying to put himself in the cubby, can't find the shot, but Eric Kante is there to bail him out with a nice double kill before Relic trades. The fast rotations already called by the CT side. They're trying to catch Quiff Peak off guard. The shot's just about coming through. Magic finds the headshot, 3-on-2. The advantage back with the CT side. There's a defuse kit somewhere on that site as well. Kawhi, those found the pick. This isolates the fights. Kawhi's found another 1v1. Magic versus Kawhi. They play ringer roses around the bomb site as Kawhi sets himself up at the Jennies. No smoke for Magic. He's got to clear every angle, and Kawhi with a 1-tap will give Quiff Peak a 2-round lead.
Just the perfect left click to finish that round off. And it will be the T-side pistol garnered by the staff side then, as they look for the full buy around into the second one. Low IQ not considering anything. Magic will pick up a P250, but that is quite literally it, as staffs, they're pretty much guaranteed to get double digits here. Low IQ will want to contest the gun round in the next, probably. But if they lose it, just like Staffs did, and they end up in a position where they go 4-0 down in this half, there's really not very many rounds left for Staffs to try and get in order to force overpass here.
The information gathered towards mid as Hasnoodle finds the opening pick and finds the second as well. The aim punch just a little bit too much for 12. They're walking into the stack, but they're still finding the frags. Another dink. Finally, Crit finds one, and he almost grabs a second, but the cleanup job is good. It's 10-7, and I think this rifle round, as you said, is so important for low IQ. This is essential.
Yeah, indeed. More importantly as well, we saw Staffs lose this rifle round in the last instance. It does look like their economy is slightly healthier. They'll be able to bring a bit more utility forward into the round, and that's because there's been no AWP picked up, unlike Staffs by in the previous instance, I believe. But I mean, it's so important for low IQ to try and get it. Eric Kante, he's going to go aggressive towards B stairs right now, and if he can hold the right angle, they really might not expect it.
The spray down's good for 2. Crit gets another, and he's bailed his teammate out here. Ewan in a 1-on-4. This is more like it from low IQ. That round was so important, and unless Ewan can pull off an absolute miracle with a UMP in hand, the bomb down towards B as well is giving his position away. He needs to try and find some more frags, and you can tell he knows it. Pop Flash not going to do much. He's wedged himself in the corner, perhaps, to try and find some kind of an exit. Grabs the first. Magic next into the crosshair. So close, but low IQ. They just about keep 3 players up on the server, and the buy isn't looking amazing for Quiff Peak.
Yeah, indeed. It does look like they are going to try and force into the situation. And we have seen buys work in previous instances, you know, the top tier of play with just these 3 hero rifles doing all of the work. But there are 4 for the Staff side to work with in this one. The buy, actually, when the guns are all considered, it's pretty balanced. And it looks like Staffs, they're going fast A.
Fast towards the A-bomb site, but the smokes and the utility of the CT side keeps them honest, and Magic with the nade finds the opening pick, taking out Relic, and the spam has actually massively favoured the CT side. It's got them the man advantage. It's brought Kawhi down to just 7 HP as he tries to play over those smokes up on top of the boxes. Crit reads it beautifully to find yet another. Finally, he's taken down, but he's finding frags all over the shop, and Bolton, his teammates have just disappeared all around him. He went towards B, and everybody else died on A. Worse than me, looking the wrong way, will be executed. The bomb spotted out at the very least. The Molotov not going to stop Bolton if he wants to try and recover it in the 3-on-1. But it is going to take an inhuman clutch from him to find this. The CT side, they're spread across the map at the very least. Eric Kante a little bit isolated towards B as 12 tries to hold this ramp down there. Bolton can spot him out, but it won't quite happen. I thought for a second, I dared to believe, but low IQ, they draw within 1.
Yeah, indeed. And they draw within 1 in a round that Staffs really shouldn't be buying into either. Hasnoodle's going to pick up the Tech 9 and Deagle out as well, a couple of them, in fact, across the team. But no more investment than that, really. You know, no more than $700 spent, which means that low IQ, they should be able to guarantee this round. Quiff Peak, if they can get a bomb plant and 3 kills, as we've seen low IQ do on some of these pistol rounds on the map, then they can call it a relative success at least. But it looks like a tied-up scoreline guaranteed here on Vertigo. And heading into the next gun round as well, it's going to be important. If the amount of Staff's damage that they can deal here, the amount of players they can take out, the impact could definitely be felt in the next round.
Oh, this time is worse than me. Finally, he peeks wide and spots out absolutely everybody. Nade to follow will do a little bit of chip damage onto Ewan, but mid control, for the time being, is established. That's a lovely little Molotov to isolate some players. They can get over the top of it. But the Deagles occupying mid, it makes life difficult for this CT side. They just post 1 player up there. It's going to be Ewan holding things down as the rest of the Deagles just look to spread across the map and spread their merry little havoc. Magic makes his way in towards mid. The Deagle of Ewan still up and kicking though, and 12, I don't think he has any idea how close this Deagle is. The spam not quite able to connect as now these Deagles instead look to group up towards the B-bomb site. How much damage can you find? That's the question. Eric Kante up on the boost, and the timing couldn't be worse. The pistols will at least be heard, and now the spray, worse than me. 1, 2, looking for more. Relic only able to find 1 as worse than me. On for the quad kill, tapping away. He will be able to get 4, and it's a relatively clean job again. Low IQ, I tell you what, they are not looking bad on Vertigo whatsoever.
Yeah, it definitely looks like they themselves have done some preparation here. I mean, it's to be expected as well. They are sort of playing for the championship right now. It is the grand finals. You know, any preparation that you're going to have against your opponents is going to be completely valuable. And it looks like they have been watching some demos of this Staff side on Vert right now. Look, they're going again. Staff's trying to go aggressive A, but low IQ here and ready to deal with it.
Looking to get aggressive once more. Kawhi, though, this time benefits. Finds the opening pick. Hasnoodle gets aggressive up Ivy to find a second. And this is the opportunity Quiff Peak needed. They are going very swiftly. 12 looking completely the wrong way. Gifts Hasnoodle yet another. And it's a clean sweep across the board for Quiff Peak. Ewan on 2 HP finds the frag. And at 11-10, again, look at that CT economy. They've got one more buy, but it's not going to be a good look.
Yeah, that's a really rough round from low IQ there, because they do anticipate the A execute comes in, but they don't anticipate the pace at which staffs are going to execute it. Nobody aware that somebody's encroaching on the scaffolding, which allows that player to convert kills for himself. And I mean, look at the CT aggression now, worse than me going straight to the smoke. Doesn't catch Bolton off guard. The flash is good, and Magic now has to retreat into the A site.
He's got to be very careful. He can't afford to give up another frag to this T side. It's just more and more looking like Quiff Peak have got this crit. At the very least, able to find one. And with the AWPer aggressive around him, he can afford to hang around for a while longer towards Ivy. Ewan, though, taking down 12 towards mid makes it very awkward indeed. And with half a gap in that smoke, all the timing. Relic just about stays alive. Crit grabs another, but does he have any idea about the next man on the ramp? He doesn't. Can't find anything. And with Eric Kante on just a 5-7, he has to join his AWPer. He has to try and make the rotation through mid where Bolton lies in wait. Can't quite connect, though. And man, oh man, the bomb's going to make its way around towards the B-bomb site. Lovely headshot from Magic. That starts to make you believe as the bomb slowly but surely pulls the rotation. They are going to be able to get the plant down unless that 5-7 on Eric Kante can pull off an absolute miracle. I know it's your favourite pistol, but he's in towards the generators and he's got to find some very swift headshots indeed. Here's the smoke. Knows the players are heading towards him. Molotov goes down onto the site to buy some time. Nade to follow as well. He's looking to cause as much havoc as he can. Buy some time for his AWPer. He's got one and it's all onto Relic, but has he made his way around? He hasn't! Low IQ, they pull it off. They find the 11 all and man, this game is going down to the wire.
Oh, I finally seen a 5-7 win a round, basically, in the NUEL game. I'm so happy. It is definitely my favourite pistol. Eric Kante has been rewarded for using it. What a hero. Now he's going to pick up the P90, which sort of... I mean, okay, obviously people are going to be contesting his decision to buy a 5-7 anyway, and the fact that he's now bought a P90 doesn't bode well. Staffs, they want to go fast again, though.
Lovely tag to open things up from the AWPer, looking for more. He's allowing Crit to get aggressive behind him, but there's so many players. How many can he find? He's got to hit the reload, and Bolton could get aggressive here. It will be the trade. Magic still so aggressive. Can't quite connect with the headshot. His teammates are falling all around him, and the flick won't quite happen. It's on to Kante, and worse than me. They've got to find a 2-on-3. This shouldn't have happened. This never should have happened. Bolton's got another, and now it's up to that P90 that we spoke about in the pre-round. He's got to find 3. Bolton the first one. The spray down's good for the first. He found the bomb. Bloody can't quite find the third. It was close. He almost made a justifiable call to buy that P90, but it doesn't quite happen. And low IQ, they're on the fullest of ecos here.
Yeah, they suffer the complete economic reset, and then Kante, he goes for the hold down left click strategy, and it very nearly works out. Unfortunately, unable to isolate the last player, and okay, it might not be the full eco, Wolfie, because they have decided to force up onto some SMGs and some pistols, which is not a decision I was anticipating. They're holding some close angles yet again. Now, Staffs, they've taken early ramp control. They know there's no utility committed here, so they could anticipate this eco coming through in the round. Magic's found Relic, though, and worse than me, in a great position here. If he can close in on Bolton, this round could swing the opposite way. This is not a great start for Quiff Peak.
This all very isolated. Bolton, though, bails himself out, finds the frag. Eric Kante aggressive with the P250. He's got the bomb as well. Bolton on the AWP has got to be so careful. He will finally find the frag as Kawhi gets 2. How have they recovered this? It's on to 12. This looks so good for low IQ, but now it's 2-on-1 as the bomb's picked up by Bolton. And where does he look to go here? That's the call. It looks like he will be heading towards the ramp to join up with Kawhi. They're thinking about this A-site hit as 12. He gives himself the weirdest of angles I've ever seen, but if I remember rightly, this angle is all but impossible to see from the ramp. He's hoping that they don't clear this one out. They head up the ramp. If they go through Ivy, they should be able to spot him out. They should be able to clear it as they make their way onto the bomb site, and that is the call. They are going to go there. They're going to go round the corner. Bolton, he goes white. The spray's good for 1. Kawhi, he's also low HP. Twirl has done it on the MP9. He's found round number 12, and oh my goodness.
He's so far away with the MP9. How is he able to convert that into a kill? The damage range on that weapon is appalling. It's so bad at range. It's terrible. It's just awful at that distance. How is he able to convert that into 2 kills? There's a rifle and an AWP aggressing into him, and he's not able to find those frags. That is a nightmare round to Staffs to lose. They look to quick execute into B off the back of it.
The The rotation will be called incredibly quickly. They're trying to wait out the utility of the T side as they do manage to take control of the B ramp and start to plan their execute. Eric Kante gets his head ripped off by Bolton. And again, the CT side, they're giving away frags on these sort of half-buy rounds where you can't afford to be losing players. Molotov goes towards the boost. That will force Kawhi out into the open, and they know it. They need to capitalize on this frag. Crit takes a lot of damage for his trouble, though, and 4-on-4, they're going to rotate all the way back around, try and trouble Magic on that AWP. He's got an awkward angle, but he's hearing it. He's hearing the footsteps, and he can call the rotation around. He can call his teammates in to help as Ivy is taken, and they're going to push straight onto the side. The T side, missed shot from Magic allows these pistols to get up close. He finds the collat as Relic finds a lot of damage, and Bolton on that recovered M4 gets another. Again, this CT side are giving up so many frags to such an abysmal buy. Bolton finds the shot, and it's all on Crit. He's got a 1v3 to find. He needs to be very quick on these headshots. The spray's good for the first, but he's being flanked from the right-hand side as Bolton actually just bails out of it. And can he find the frags here, Crit? It would need another inhuman clutch from low IQ. Their economy is so close to breaking point as he starts to push around the corner. The spray, he's good for one. Does he know where Bolton is? He taps the bomb. He thinks he's in towards Ivy. Bolton knows better. He's holding the bomb. There isn't a defuse kit on the back of Crit at the time being, and I think this round is all but done. He's got no more time left on the clock. He might be able to take Bolton down with him at the very death of it as he looks to adjust the deagle, but Bolton even finds the final frag, tries to jump off the map to survive. But again, Quiff Peak, they find round number 13, and again, low IQ have no money.
She's quick forced by executes. Somehow they continue to win. They continue to win for the staff side. There's really no way they should have been allowed that round at all. But the pace is just not anticipated well enough by low IQ here, and this mid-aggression has to be countered now by staffs.
Oh, Ewan with a beautiful headshot to open things up, taking out that MP9 of worse than me. And now they look to re-aggress. The tags on the Deagle at the least are good. And Eric Kante again on that P250, causing havoc, bringing it back as Crit gets another one. The pistols on Vertigo have been inhuman for both sides. Crit finding the Deagle headshot. And there's tags onto players to work with as well for these guys. Bolton on just 9 points of health is playing with fire, peeking that angle in a 3-on-4. The Molotov goes deep, will buy him some room to maneuver. But Kawhi again taken down so low by the P250 before he can find the headshot. That just makes this MP9 all the more viable, but Ewan, spraying and praying with it, manages to get the frag on the Mac-10, and it's on to Twirl and Crit. They've got utility behind these Deagles, but they've got to find a 3-on-2 back into this bomb site. Plenty of tags. Again, these Deagles up close and personal. It's going to be a one shot to the chest to finish things off, but they've got to get into the site somehow. They've got to find some frags somewhere on this map. Crit clears out mid. That allows him to start peeking up on the boost. Bolton, the first one to find. He's so low on HP. Crit can't quite connect. He misses so many shots, and as Ewan cleans up 12, that's it. That's the opportunity gone. Kawhi finds another 14-12. The force buy. It doesn't work out, and Quiff Peak, they are 2 rounds away from taking us to overpass.
Yeah, Crit, he has to hit 1 bullet there, and he's missed 5, unfortunately, and that is the cost of the round for low IQ. As staffs, it looks like now they are going to be taking us to a map 3. There's no money left available for low IQ. It's got to be the full eco against all of the rifles from staffs here as they look to secure 15, and then low IQ would have to win 3 in a row to force overtime here, and it just might be too tall of a task for them to ask for, to be honest with you. Somehow, though, they get aggressive and find the opener. Surely they're not allowed more kills here.
They find 1, and 12 grabs a second on the USPS. Bolton's out on a limb with that AWP. It's a 3rd frag. How is this happening again? 3 P250s were all that the CT side brought into this round, but they've got 3 opening frags. The AWP has even been scavenged. Finally, Ewan finds the first frag of the round for Quiff Peak, but it's 4-on-2. At the very least, the lack of armor makes the aim punch a very significant issue for the CT side, and they've got to put some presence towards B. They can't afford to fully stack A as Ewan, with the bomb on his back, starts to make his way in. Twirl. Oh, that Molotov. No option at all. Ewan takes him out. They know now, but Magic finds another pick on the AWP. Bomb tapped once by Ewan. He knows he has to bait the AWPer out of this. He's trying to find the frag round the edge of the smoke. He spotted the AWP, but he's got 2 more players to deal with at the very least. Just a P250 and a USPS, but Eric Kante, he's been huge on that P250, and he's flanking slowly but surely up the ramp. He goes worse than me. Knows he doesn't have to peek this one just yet. Waits for the timing, baiting the crosshair away. Ewan with the first. Ewan with the second, and now perhaps the redemption for Ewan into the 1-on-1. There should be a rifle somewhere on that ramp for Eric Kante with 20 seconds left. He's got to play this perfectly. He hasn't been spotted yet. He's got an AK-47. He moves up close. He finds the round. How do they keep doing this? How do low IQ with 3 P250s get another round?
Oh, Ewan ever so narrowly denied the ace. And the University of Western England, they are not backing down on Vertigo. It's the full eco. I said at the start of that round that staffs were guaranteed 15. Should have been the case. Somehow, the Pistols are just doing all the work. I think maybe we should just throw all the rifles away. Let's just leave them. We don't need them at this point in time. It's the Deagles and the P2s that are doing all the work here. It's Hasnudor. Can he make it more work with the Deagle? Not initially. Looking to convert, but eventually Eric Kante will control the round, and it looks like a gun round might go the way of the side that does have the weapons advantage.
It feels like whichever team can work out how M4s work first, how AKs work, are going to find the round as Twirl with an interesting angle. Does manage to find the pick onto Volton, and they are just starting to clean things up here. The spray down onto Relic nearly goes wide, but Ewan can only capitalize for one. He's stuck behind these sandbags, and he's got crosshairs all around in the Molotov as well. They are forcing him out into the open. 14 all, the scoreline will read. They might be able to muster a bye here, Quiff Peak, but again, who knows what's going to happen? The Pistols are finding so much damage.
Let me tell you a core concept of gameplay here that at the top level of Counter-Strike, right? Whenever teams are talking about coming back into matches, you've seen this from numerous interviews with in-game leaders and post-match interviews and things like that. Whenever teams want to come back into big matches, it has to be predicated off of one moment, essentially, right? There's got to be one round that you can point to that just spurs them on and gives them a momentum. And that eco victory, that might just be it here for Low IQ. They continue to frag through the smoke, Relic down early on, and it looks like, at least for the moment, that Low IQ are going to be the side to try and get map point first. Series point even, after an overtime victory. The re-aggression from Crit is huge. Finds a second kill, and there's only one flash and smoke available for Staffs now in the rest of this round.
Molotov. Oh, 12 though, still able to find the headshot and bring it again. Another huge frag, and it feels like whichever team wins this one is going to be set. Ewan is walking right into the crosshairs. Eric Kante, he has held down B like a trooper. It hasn't mattered what he's had in his hands. A P250, a rifle, an AWP. He's finding frags as Kawhi will look to re-aggress, will look to cause as much mayhem as possible. Eric Kante playing behind that smoke, and what can Kawhi get done here? He knows he's got a huge task resting on his shoulders. Low IQ, if he can't find 4 kills, they will find themselves on map and series point in the grand final of the NUEL Winter Split for CSGO. Kawhi gives his position away, peeking around the generators. Eric Kante brought down very low indeed, but what does it matter? He has the P250 and Low IQ. They are one round from victory, and look at the economy.
Yeah, I'm not even going to consider that as a factor, though, to be honest with you. If anything, that gives Staffs a better chance of winning this round based on the historical cases that we've seen. They've put Ewan on the hero AK. Relic still has money to invest onto on Mac 10. And, I mean, it's Hasnoodle. He has no armor on just the Deagle. He's the one who's made all the sacrifices here. The utility is deployed early on from Low IQ, and they have total ramp control at the moment. Staffs, they know that they aren't able to contest this at range. They've just got the one AK to work with, and if they lose it contesting this battle at range, it's too costly for them at this point in time. So they're just going to hold for now and hope that these CTs aggress into positions that they can capitalize kills from.
Here come the flashes, the fast plays called towards the A-bomb site. The Org needs to find the shots, traded 1 for 1. Leaves that M4 of Magic very isolated indeed, but the spray adjustment is so good. That buys the rotation time. The AK of 12 has made its way to support on the site. At the least, there's a couple of rifles being recovered by this T side. It's all worse than me playing with fire against that AUG. Molotovs to deny the bomb plant for the time being for the T side, as this looks good for Low IQ. Fully committed to the A site hold, but the bomb, it looks to go down as well. 4 on 3. Can they find this retake? Utility to work with. There's 2 rifles and a Mac 10 for this T side to try and hold it to OT. Try and make it a reality, but Twirl on top of the smoke has found another. It's onto Ewan. Really, this hero AK has to be absolutely huge. He's in the corner. He's got the spray for 1. He's got the spray for 2. He's traded by Eric, and it's onto the Deagle. They know exactly where he is. The smoke goes onto the bomb. Someone's going to pick it. And Low IQ, they have won the CSGO University Championship Winter Split. 16-14, the final scoreline on Vertigo as they take the victory. 2-0.
I think that's the closest 2-0 I've ever seen in any of the series I've casted for the NUEL so far. 22-19 on the opening map of Inferno, and then 16-14 on Vertigo. it was a map that neither of us expected low IQ to turn up big on because, I mean, you never see it played in series. It's something that teams always try and ban away from. And that way, I think staffs must have thought, oh, we performed so strongly so far in the split on the map. Teams never like to play against us on it. So we'll just be able to pocket pick this in the grand finals. And unfortunately, their opponents, they're just so prepared. They win. I mean, both sides, to be fair, are winning all of these rounds. They shouldn't have Deagle round after Deagle round, it seems like. But it's got to be that standout eco. The only investment from the University of Western England, 3 P250s, and it began at the comeback that they needed to be crowned champions here in the split. And just congratulations for them for that.
I think if there is one round you can point towards, it is that. And of course, a massive congratulations to Low IQ as they find victory in the NUEL CSGO University Championship Winter Split, taking down the Staffs boys. And as always, a huge thank you to our partners, Republic of Gamers, Intel, and TwitchGen, for bringing this kind of CS, for bringing the opportunity for university players to put up the kind of showing that we've seen there. It was absolutely insane, both from a spectating and a casting perspective. The players showing everything they had, and it was so close. At the final hurdle, Low IQ, they just managed to pull the victory off. We will be back with the spring split for CSGO, and if you want to see more of this, you know where that follow button is. The social media is at the NUEL, and this is Wolfie, and this is Brutalis. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you in the spring, boys. See ya.